What's up, everyone? I'm Nick Campo. This is Nick Owens, and we are the Lone Guys Podcast. Nick's a special guest. Building wealth through real estate. That's what we talk about on Tuesdays. Every single Tuesday, we go live here on YouTube. And Nick, we found him on Instagram with one of my favorite videos I've ever seen on Instagram, and he's a realtor here in Charlotte. And I said, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? He's kind enough to bless us with his presence, so we're super excited to talk to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, first off. What you're doing, where they can find you on social media, and then let's just get into it.
Yeah. That's totally cool. So thanks for having me. First off, super happy to be here. As soon as you reached out, I was like, yes, I love talking.
Yes.
So let me get on here. So Nick Sales CLT is my Instagram handle. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. I was in tech sales and telecommunication sales when I got out of college, and I said, wow, I hate selling things that I don't actually care about. Like, nobody cares about cable or TV or anything like that. And I worked at a property management company when I was a kid. I actually was like a showing agent for a property manager at 15 years old. I don't even know if that was legal or not.
Did they pay you?
Yeah, so like it was crazy. I was getting like paid $20 an hour as a 15-year-old. And so like,
what state?
It was in Fayetteville.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah. So
I guess they don't have child labor laws.
I don't know what was going on, but they told me they'd give me $20 an hour if I opened up some doors. So it'd be funny to go and meet these couples that are like 30, and I'm showing them rental properties. They're like, "Are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here showing you the house." So I always was in it, and then I just hated my job when I moved to Charlotte. So I was like, "I'm just gonna go into real estate." Nobody wants to. It's just like, I'm gonna try this, but. Worked out perfectly. Yeah, I've been doing it for 5 years full time, so love it.
Did you have early success?
So I joined a team like most people did, and it was cool. But I learned so much in like a year being on that team because I was with agents who were new and agents who've been in the business for like 25 years. Mm-hmm. So I learned and absorbed everything very quick. And then I transferred over, and when Zillow was buying properties, I was actually the listing agent that was selling those properties after the fact. So I think my second year I did like 54 listings or something. But then I started to see how that business model was fading because they hired me just to hire me. They didn't care about my expertise or like what I would be like, this house is worth this. They're like, all right, list it for $80,000 more than that. I'm like, okay. So I saw slowly like what it was going to become. And so I left, and 2 months later they closed that whole division down. And then ever since then I've been a solo guy.
Nice. So how do you get your leads?
Social media. I have a lot of out-of-state investors, and once you do right by one of them, they tell all their rich friends. They're all in tech from California.
Okay.
So
wait, so people are leaving California and moving to the South?
Wow, what?
I didn't know.
I wonder if it's cheaper.
Are the taxes the same?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they love it. Yeah, they're like, how much is this house?
Are they buying mostly in cash, or they?
No, so a lot of them finance, mostly, really, because they just want to buy a bunch. Like. I'm their North Carolina agent. I know the agent they use in Alabama. They've been buying a lot in Alabama, and then now they're kind of dripping into Florida a little bit.
I'm sure Alabama loves that.
Yeah, dude. One of the guys I sell to a lot. He buys a lot in Alabama, but he wants a deal all the time.
Does Alabama have electricity yet?
I don't think they have gas stations.
Oh no, they still go to the outhouse.
Yeah, right. You get a new construction. It's kind of expensive.
Roll Tide.
$106,000.
Hey, Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alabama. We have to pick on you. I'm from upstate New York originally, and I've been here for 18 years. In the South, I came down here to play football because in the North, we are very good at football.
You guys have hockey and weird sports.
Yeah, weird sports. Hockey, field hockey, lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, shout out to my American Indian friends. Lacrosse is what a game.
Yeah,
what a game. But yeah, I came down here. I played football and baseball at President here in Clinton, South Carolina, which is has a lot of similarities to Alabama.
Dude, you need to verify that you watched your team play football and then you played baseball.
Yes, true.
That's
true. It's okay. If I tried harder, I would have done it.
That's all right. I couldn't do anything with ball. I ran track in college, so I could just run really fast in circles.
So I didn't actually run. I was a quarterback and a pitcher, so I'm like the least athletic person to play two Division I sports, right? So I played two Division I sports, and people were like, "Oh man, you must have been athletic." No, I just could throw.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm a thrower.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I came down here 18 years ago, and it's like absolutely exploded. My parents moved from upstate New York to Charlotte my senior year, and they were living in Fort Mill, and that doesn't look anything the same. There was actually a golf course over there, Regent Park, that's now a development.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Looks nothing like it did. It absolutely exploded. The amount of people who are moving here is wild. It seems like every other person I do a mortgage force from out-of-state.
Yeah.
And then, so you mentioned you're working with a lot of out-of-state people too. They told their friends about you, so you must have done a good job for them.
Yeah.
Mostly investors.
Yeah, most of them are investors that are my out-of-state people.
Right.
I'm at that age. I just turned 29 yesterday. So I'm at the age now where all my friends are kind of buying their first house.
Oh, there you go, first-time home buyer.
Yeah, so like when I got in the business, everybody's like, call your sphere. I'm like, my sphere is poor and go to the club on Friday nights. They're not buying houses. They can't even afford top shelf liquor, let alone a house. So yeah,
well,
yeah. So mostly out of state are my investors. I have been getting a lot of people who send me referrals, and that's from social media. Maybe they saw me from social media or something, which is cool.
So your social media posts that I've watched, they're funny. First off, I think they're very truthful. Yeah. But you use sarcasm to tell the truth.
Yes.
And I love that. I like dry sense of humor. I like sarcasm. The video I saw, funny story, was actually the one I reached out to you about. The house that you were in was actually the house that was next door to the house that I first purchased as a primary residence. Bought it as a HUD home, put a $100 down payment on it, didn't have doors, remodeled the whole thing, sold it a few years later for like a $200,000 profit.
Yep.
Back to the social media. Do you think your social media helps you bring in business? Do people, how do they react to your videos? Because I'm sure some people are like, oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah. I love it though. And I reply to every comment on all of my videos. It's something that I try to do. Whether it's nice or whether it's a good comment or a bad comment, I'm going to reply to you.
Are you nice back?
No, not really. No. So I'm nice to the nice people, and if somebody is sarcastic, I'm sarcastic.
Me too.
But
I do the same.
It's funny if you go on that video that you're talking about. The most comment is my comment to somebody else, and the person said,
ratioed.
Yeah, the person said, this guy sells houses to douchebags. That's what his comment said, and my comment back to him was like, I can't wait till you're ready to buy. Let me know. And it has like 300 likes, and people are like, oh my gosh, these guys. So I am super sarcastic, but I try not to toe a certain line. There's videos that I've made, and in the moment, I'm like, I'm gonna post this. I don't care. And then I start putting it on Instagram, and I watch the preview. I'm like,
probably should.
Yeah, I'll hold off on this one.
What's the worst video that you haven't posted?
I had one where I was like laying it in on like certain firms.
Okay.
Like when people kind of spoof firms, right? And they'll like make their stereotypes and go, but I really hit it like hard.
Oh, I do that to our lenders, like Movement Mortgage, when they talk about how we donate back to the community. I'm like, but you charge more than everyone else, so the client's actually paying for the donation to the community.
Yeah.
Like
so I have friends who work at Movement, and I try to work with them, but if you don't have an 8,000 credit score, $100 million in the bank account, they're like, we can't approve you.
Well, and if you do have that, they're going to take as much of that money out of the bank as they possibly can. Overcharging rate, so when they sell on the secondary market, they make even more.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I have friends there, but I sent 3 people there, and all of them were underqualified, and then I'd send them to anybody else, and it was fine. So it was like,
and I don't mean to go hard at Movement. Maybe I do, but I was what you said, spoof other. Well, I spoof Movement, I spoof Fairway, I spoof Reliance First Capital. Your cease and desist, it didn't work. I do it all, so I understand, and that's why I recognize the video. I'm like, okay, he has a sense of humor, because I think that's what it takes. So the worst one was you went hard at other firms.
I did. It was actually most recently. It was I'm a realtor, of course. Blah blah blah. There's 3 videos that I said that did not make that final video that I posted. And it was funny because when I was recording with the other people, they're like, ooh. They're like, if anybody can say this, it's you.
Right.
Because the other ones are very nice, and they're like, you can say this part. So they left, and I was editing, and I was putting it together.
That was the one where everyone was like walking outside and stuff?
Yeah. Okay. And when I posted it, they were like, dude, you didn't say the thing about blank brokerage. And I was like, yeah, when I put it together, I realized that it was hard, and I just made something else.
Well, yeah, I'm still 29. I don't know where my career's going to take me, so I got to be careful.
Yeah. But I do like, I am very, like, in real life, I'm very blunt.
Right.
With my clients, I'm very blunt when I see them. And that's kind of where I took off in real estate, is because people were referring me about me being as honest and upfront as possible. So, like, I talk people out of buying houses all the time.
Right.
A normal salesperson would be like, yeah, let's put an offer.
But they trust you, though.
Exactly. I build that trust very early, because we'll walk into a house that they love, and obviously they can't see things that maybe I notice as a realtor or like an inspector would notice. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes, this is a piece of shit, you know. Don't.
This is all a facade.
Yeah.
This isn't nice. Like, people are looking, oh, look at this wood backboard. Yeah, it's half the room.
And it's mold.
Right.
It crumbles.
Yeah. Oh, it falls.
Yeah. Like, I was one time showing, like, wood rot on a windowsill, and I snapped the whole windowsill off the thing on accident. I was like, see, it's kind of soft.
Oops.
And I was like, oops. I mean, I told the agent, I'm like, hey, your windowsill's rotted and it broke. But things like that. So a lot of my clients really love that how I am on Instagram is how they get me in real life.
Yeah,
and, you know, and I'm not like a, you know, no offense, you have a tie and stuff on, but like, I don't wear ties. Like, when I go to closing, like, I may have a button up.
Right.
But most of the time I don't.
Right. You're yourself.
Yeah, I'm just myself. And, you know, there's some people that don't like it, and there's some people that will not work with me after the first showing.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that I don't like to work with at the first showing. I'm at the point in my career now where I can actually, like, kind of pick and choose. Before, in the beginning, you're kind of taking whatever you got just because you're building your business.
You have no choice.
But now it's kind of like, I'll talk to people and I'll see like they're saying some stuff that, like, I'm super uncomfortable with maybe. And maybe just because I give that energy that I'm, you know, comfortable with everybody, but I'm like, ooh, I don't think I'm a good fit for
I just thought you didn't give a fuck.
No, I do. I do.
You kind of. So the thing is, to speak to your, you seem like you've had 29 years old, you're full-time realtor. There's not a lot of people who do that. It's not an easy one. Especially self-generated. You mentioned earlier, you don't pay for leads. You're self-generated, referral-based. I believe that one of the traits of a top producer, and I tell my guys on the floor all the time, like, I'm the top producer in the industry.
Yep.
If you're not, you're probably well on your way. Honesty, man. Like, they're like, oh, you brought in $3 million worth of contracts this week. Yeah, because the people who are coming to me already trust me because they're being referred by somebody who trusts me. And the reason they trust me is because there was one client that was going to buy, I tell the truth, is what I'm getting at. One client's going to buy a condo. They're like, oh, this is going to be an investment property. So I do a cash flow analysis for them. I was like, well, the HOA is $500 a month, or the condo association dues are $500 a month. So where are you making your money? And they're like, what do you mean?
Yep.
So I called the realtor because you don't want to, like, blow up a deal without talking to the partner. And she's like, well, I really need the sale. And I'm like, what you need and what is best for them are two different things. And to be honest, they really aren't, because what you need is them to be in the best situation so they use you again.
Again, exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly my standpoint, because these people from out of state who have their boots on the ground. I've sold over 65 houses to out-of-state investors. I've met one of them in person.
Wow.
The rest of them, I spoke to them on the phone. I FaceTimed them.
Right.
Never met them. They haven't even came and seen the properties.
Okay.
One guy that I've sold 10 houses to has never stepped foot in North Carolina.
Wow.
Because I'm so detailed on my boots on the ground, like, I take so many videos and pictures. It feels like you're there, pretty much. Right. But that's why I tell people. They're like, oh, you know, even if it's not like the perfect investment property, I'm like, no. Because I want this guy to be like, this was great. I'm making money. Cash flow's right. Nick's analysis on the rental was right. Like, all my friends go to him. Because if you screw one person over, that's your reputation. Forever. Oh, that guy's there for the check.
Right.
That guy's there for the check. And I always was like, I don't want to be that guy.
Hey, just a heads up. That camera over there has a reverb on it, so we're just going to roll that.
That's fine.
Because every time we flip it, it does something. I don't know. Somebody got over and hit some
Nick Jr.
shit.
Thanks, Nick Jr. Well, and the thing is if you're not all about the check, what ends up happening is people trust you, and then you don't ever have to worry about a check.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what happened to me. You know, my team, and they're not here today. We keep them, the operations side, home on Tuesdays because you can hear them talking on the mics. Yeah. So they stay home. Plus, they enjoy it. They're hybrid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they love it. And they're killers, dude. Yeah. Like, we have our, we have a processor one, So with our loan officers, what we do is they go out and they get business. They meet people like yourself. They get a referral. It goes to our processor, one who's a DE certified underwriter, and he does a full income calculation, credit check, everything you can do without having a house. We do it up front. So like we started our business, we're in year 3, and we've never lost a loan because of underwriting, not one. And we're a mortgage broker shop, right? And we can do everything. So it goes to them. They qualify it. Then once it gets under contract, we average 14 days clear to close. It goes to Candace. She's another DE certified underwriter, right? So what ends up happening when you're truthful, honest, and you're doing that, you don't worry about the check. And I forgot where I was going with that, but
you'll make the money without worrying about the money.
Right, you make the money without worrying about the money, and then you take care of people, and then you get the referral, and it just they get to know like, okay, this team is honest. Yeah. This team's going to tell me the truth. This team's going to get my deal closed no matter what. And we ended up, that's what it was. You work with a lot of investors. Well, investors are constantly buying. Even with higher interest rates, they're going to continue to buy. Yeah. So you mentioned having 65 out of state. Well, my team asked me, Candace and Ron, they're like, are you ever going to get a primary residence again? Probably not. Yeah. I will. We'll get first-time home buyers because we have best program, things of that nature. And my investors, when they buy primary, they come to me. Every deal I have in the pipeline is investment property, and they keep coming. I have one client with 80 properties. I'm going to be refinancing all of them once once he gets to the balloon, because he has them in the blanket product, which we do all of that. So we do everything from 65% residential, and I wrap in commercial residential into residential because it's completely different, and then 35% is just like commercial, like factories, things of that nature, right? And investors want honesty. They want to make money. It's a long-term investment for some of them. Some of it's a short-term. Sometimes we do fix and flips. But you hit the nail on the head, and I respect that. And I respect, I saw the videos, and they were asking me, do they work? And I was like, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a crazy, crazy return, though, right? Like, probably the amount of time that I put into it isn't like, I'm not getting 100 deals a year from social media. But that's not really my goal.
Right.
If I get anything, not even like this. Right. This isn't a deal.
No.
This is a cool thing to me to go on, me speak, have some content to have. Like, absolutely. And you would have never found me if I made that video. Correct. Or like this video was actually a good one for me for lead generation. I had 3 sellers reach out to me and 4 buyers.
Okay.
Just because they were just like, oh, I really like this. You seem like,
yeah.
Like one girl was like, you'll make a very stressful situation funny. Yes. And I said, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So like I actually made a short video on my way here, and my thing is, and if you've ever bought or sold a house with me, when anything crazy happens or anything at all, like a milestone happens, I send like a SpongeBob meme. That's like my thing. So like I have like when your offers accepted, I have like a specific meme that I share.
What's the video?
What, the one I made today? Mm-hmm. It was like the Shark Tank one with the Shark Tank music.
Oh yeah.
And it was like hi buyers, like I want 100% in your 100% of your business, and in return you'll get your dream home, SpongeBob memes, and but it's like my thing, and like my clients love it because I tell them that I'm gonna do this, and then they're like, okay, and then I start doing it, and they're like, you were not kidding. Or like if like an inspection comes back really shitty, I'll send them like SpongeBob like crying, but I don't say anything with it. I just send the meme, and they're like, what happened? And then I explain. But it's like things like that. Like I just try to keep it funny. Like I just the whole foundation's rotted. Here's a SpongeBob meme, but we're gonna fix it. But I just want to lay that out there.
So it's only like $100,000.
This sucks, but laugh at this, and now let's fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a stressful situation already. So like I try to keep it light as much as possible. Yeah.
That's great. And most people are stressed about the transaction. I have found though that investors, a couple of things with investors. One, they shop us less. They don't shop us as much if they trust us. Yeah. And then the other thing is it's more of a business transaction, so they don't stress out as much. Yeah. But what I've realized is they're more likely to walk away from a transaction that they don't like after inspections. Yeah. You get that?
Yeah. So this is weird, and you're probably gonna look at me weird, but most of my people buy new construction. Investors.
So why?
So they find neighborhoods that is going to be 400 houses, and they buy the first 20. They hold them for 3 years. When the neighborhood's done, the house is worth $100,000 more than when they bought it, and they do some kind of cash out refinance and just keep doing that. So a lot of them right now know that cash flow is hard, right? On any property. Right. So most of them are in it for the portfolio building or the equity building. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my guys right now in the past 2 years maybe cash flow like $30 after like all the property management fees and all that stuff. Right. But they don't care. And I always ask that too, because there's different strategies. I'm like, what's your strategy? Sure. Are you trying to retire cash flow, or are you portfolio stacking? They're like, I'm just portfolio stacking. I'm like, okay, cool. So these properties probably work better.
Right.
But I have some people now like, I'm trying to cash flow like $800 a month. I'm like, good. I hope you're putting down 85%.
Right.
Because it's not going to happen.
Or my strategy for that, and Mike and I and Ben and a friend of ours, Russell Smith, do this, and we find the worst property you can possibly find.
The worst.
Like I'm talking about the one that we have in Kannapolis right now. There's literally human feces that was.
I already know it has feces when you said Kannapolis.
Rowan County too. It's not even Mac.
Any house I've ever shown in Kannapolis or Concord was a shithole.
Oh, it was.
And the thing is that I don't think they're, like when you get like when you're flipping a house, you got to get like builder permits, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they do that in Rowan County, because every flip I've been to,
told you those permits were too much.
Yeah. Every flip I've been to, I walk into the house and I am like walking sideways every time. And I've shown so many houses in there, and then they're like, and people send me houses. Oh, look at this house in Concord. I'm like, I can already tell you these pictures are a catfish. And we'll go and we'll open up the door. I always want to keep a marble. You know the marble trick?
Yes,
you
put
a marble
it
on
on the floor and it rolls. We buy the one that it rolls on.
Yeah, you're like, this is perfect.
What? Straight downhill? That's us.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
You're like, why would you buy this? Well, my client's a surfer, so he really likes he really likes
skateboarders, Tony Hawk.
Yeah. He wants to build a half pipe, but this kitchen will do.
Exactly. Holy shit.
So our to cash flow though, we get those ones.
Yeah.
And then we fix them up.
Yes.
And we do we have a fix and hold product here, so we renovate and then long-term rent, and they do a DSCR calculation to make sure the rent's going to cover whatever. Yep. And dude, we found that we can do pretty well cash flow. The other hack, traveling nurses.
My best friend, one of my best friends, he's a travel nurse. He used to be in the military, and he was a nurse.
Does he want to live in Kannapolis? Because we have a house that's about to
Hell no. So he was just a regular nurse in Charlotte, or in Raleigh, and he made good money, whatever. Right. Oh, yeah. And then I was like, dude, you have nothing tying you down anywhere. Like, you should be a traveling nurse. And now he's a traveling nurse. And he lives in Chicago.
Killing it.
I think he makes like $4,000 a week or something.
And don't they give him a room stipend too?
Well, yeah. So he gets the room stipend, but he has family up there, so he's staying with his uncle rent free with the room stipend.
Genius.
Yeah. So he's like just stacking cash. And having but that's the same thing. It's like, he was like, oh, I can get an Airbnb here, and I can get it for a month, and it's like $2,500, which is 1 week worth of check. So all the people I know that do Airbnbs, they always tell me that's their clientele, travel nurses.
It's huge. Yeah. Dude, we Ben and I fell ass backwards into a property down in Longview, Texas. And let me describe Longview, Texas for you, right?
Oh, God.
So think of Alabama.
You think Kannapolis and Alabama is bad? Put it together.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is there's 3 hospitals there.
Yeah.
There's 3 hospitals and a university. And so Ben keeps sending me, we're almost done with the Kannapolis property. It should be furnished today. John, sure, you better have done your job.
Texas.
Texas. Sorry, I get them confused.
Kannapolis, you can step on the dirt when you walk to the door.
Kannapolis should be done next month, but Texas is furnished today. So we're going to have it on the Traveling Nurse Airbnb, and you can. There's a website that allows you to search and see the amount of searches of traveling nurses looking for a room, and it's like 700 and something searches per week in Longview. And guess how many properties are available for them?
Like 30. Oh, nice.
1. We're about to be number 2.
Second, yeah. That other person's pissed.
I'm like, I'm like 726 searches and there's 1 property available. We need to up the price per room.
Yeah. Yes.
The one with the bathroom, up.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, it has a kitchen sink. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an extra $100.
I said to Ben, do you think we could build like a tiny home shed out here, like with running water?
Rent that out too.
Yeah.
Shrek's outhouse,
dude. Hell
Make
yeah,
an
man.
experience.
Solo stove on the porch.
I mean, shoot, we'll hang those outdoor lights.
Yeah. That automatically makes your property worth $100,000.
Oh, dude,
when they're like, should we stage the property? You have string lights in the garage?
Oh, let's go.
Let's do it right before the pictures.
Because everyone's like, oh man, we could relax so much out there.
There's 1 picture of the front of the house, 50 of the back at 400 different angles of the string lights.
Yes.
Ready to go.
My favorite is the Twilight pictures, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Just crack me up. This is your house. This is your house at night. He gives a shit.
No.
If anything, I can't see the color of the house now because you made it dark as hell.
As long as there's electricity, you're golden.
Yeah.
Is that gray? Is that brown?
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's got lights.
But go to the, or like, like on the MLS, like you usually do it by the way you would walk through the house. So
Right.
you go through the front and the foyer. Nah, I hit back and I'm like, let me see what this backyard's like first. I don't even care what the kitchen looks like. Backyard. Yeah. What are those chairs that go in the fire pit?
Adirondack chairs.
Yeah, one of those. You got 4 of those. Boom.
Do those come with the house? Can we negotiate those in?
Yeah.
That's going to sell it.
That's another $100K.
Yeah. Easy.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, is that not spot on, though?
It is.
It is.
I mean, and my favorite is we sold our house. My wife and I sold our house in Rock Hill, and it was a nice house, a 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 2.5 baths. And the pictures online looked nothing like the house.
Yeah.
Like, we painted the cabinets white, and we did all the little things that the realtor told us to do, and she did a great job selling it for us. But I was looking at it, I'm like, damn, I would buy this house. Wait, no, never mind. That wasn't. I'm selling it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and then you get there, and it doesn't look the same. Now, does that help with sales for a realtor, or it just gets views?
What? Like
Those exaggerated pictures where they brighten the colors and
Yeah, I mean, I think photography is super important, and it's kind of like a must do.
Right,
and
right.
it's again, we'll go back to out of state people. I do the works on my listing, right? I do great pictures, aerial photos, aerial videos, 3D walkthroughs because
about drones flying through.
all that stuff.
Right.
Because you never know when your buyer doesn't live here and can't just book a showing and go. So I
Right.
want to give them that experience that they don't have to do that. If they're
Right.
moving from, Pennsylvania, they basically walk through the house. I mean, you can damn near get the Oculus goggles and put them on and
Right.
walk through the house.
Dude, at
literally,
some point in time, it's going to happen.
literally, you can do it. So like, why not spend the extra $100 on the marketing to have that? Because I hate when somebody's like, oh yeah, they like the house, they like the pictures, but they just don't know how the floor plan is.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, here's a 3D view where they can walk through it. So all that stuff is super important. I think it is. So like,
Great.
I think you're doing a disservice to your client when you don't have all of those things.
So, question for you: what's the cost for you to market? Because everyone especially with NAR, all the settlement. Oh, realtors make too much. Realtors do this.
Yeah.
You're doing the work.
Yeah.
So, what's the cost that you're putting in to get a house sold?
Yeah, so it depends. I know some realtors that do way too much.
Right.
I know some that like do $7,000 worth of marketing. I'm like, you don't need to do all that, but okay. So
Just get lights.
Right.
just get the string lights.
Right. 100%.
So like, I mean, it depends on the size of the house and stuff, but I'm usually anywhere between $750 and about $1,200. Because it's not about like how much you're doing, it's like the quality of the stuff. And I have one company that does it all. They
Okay.
do everything in one. They do all the tours, the measurements, the pictures, the videos, the social media reels. They do it all, one-stop shop, and I just use them. But then when it comes in, it's when it doesn't sell the first weekend. That's when the money starts coming because now you're doing open houses and you're doing crazy shit like having a food truck at your food house or at your open house, or having your brokers open and having a bunch of champagne or stuff like that to get people in the door. I think that after you haven't sold it over that first weekend, that's why marketing is so important. So I start marketing a house. I make my coming soons so far away, 2 weeks usually.
Right.
So I can post it for 2 weeks. That way people are like when I sold my house, people are like, dude, I don't give a fuck about your house anymore. Stop posting it. Stop posting pictures. Stop posting videos. Like my friends, dude, I'm not buying your house. I've been there. Like, I don't want it. And I'm like, I don't care. Because
Just share it.
Yeah, as soon
Just
as it goes
share it.
active, I've already had 10,000 people see it. Whereas if you do coming soon just a couple days before, you don't have a lot of exposure time.
You got 100 people see it.
Exactly. So I think all that stuff is super important up front.
Right. Another trait of a top producer.
Yeah. So it's just,
You're prepared.
yeah, I mean,
You're prepared. You're building out potential. I'm sure you have agents that reach out to you. Hey, I see you have this coming soon. Would you talk about it off market? Things of that nature, right?
yeah. Or I have people hit me up. Like, I do. I hit up people in my office. Anybody got any coming soons that I can go make content in? It's got to be staged. And also, I have a very strict price point on content I make.
Right.
Christian McCaffrey's $13 million chateau is nice as hell.
Right.
Nobody can fucking buy that.
Right.
So I don't go and do property tours of $2 million houses,
Right.
$10 million houses. It's stupid. It's not my sphere of people.
Right.
There's some agents that is their sphere. Every buyer is at least $1 million.
Right.
Cool. Mine's not like that. I have the 300 to 600 type range. So I try to keep my content within that group of people.
Smart.
And that works out better for me. And to be honest, I like to work with people like that more than it's the rich people that make the transaction so hard because they're the penny pinchers, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's the people who barely have enough money for the house. It's like, whatever you need me to do to sell it, like if I need to paint something, you go to a rich person's house. I think you should get rid of this furniture from 1977. And they're like, what do you mean? This is a $15,000 couch. And I'm like, yeah, and it looks like shit. Or like I had this lady that I had a listing appointment with in Dilworth, and she lived there forever. Since like 1982, I think she's lived there.
So before Dilworth was
Yeah,
built.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she has this house that's
Dilworth
paid
was
off,
Dilworth.
and she's an older lady. She was so sweet, and she was
Holy
walking
shit.
me through the house, and she was like, yeah, I think before we put it on the market, I'm going to gut this, or I'm going to refinish this. I'm going to do this and this. And I sat her down. And I said, I just want to let you know, there's going to be a 27-year-old who makes $800,000 a year that buys this house. And she was like, well, it's going to be listed for over $1 million. I'm like, okay, like I said, there's going to be a 26-year-old that's going to buy this house. And he's going to gut this whole kitchen. He's going to get rid of your formal dining room. He's going to get rid of the sitting room. And it's going to be one big ass room.
Exactly.
And she was like on the verge of tears. Why would they do that? I was like, because nobody gives a shit about tradition anymore. They don't care.
It's true.
So like, why are you going to spend $40K to renovate or restore when the new buyer's going to come and just gut it out anyway?
That's why I just paint the cabinets.
Yeah.
It cost, what, $20 for a gallon of paint?
Yeah. So like,
Boom,
it's,
boom,
it's
done.
things like that. You have to have conversations with
Paint and lights.
That's it.
Gotta paint
Fixtures.
lights.
Like I had a conversation this weekend with my friends, and we were talking about fixtures because me and my wife just went to the store to buy all of our new fixtures for the new house.
Right.
And the friend was like, fixtures are everything to me. She said, I bought my house and it had the builder recessed lights and stuff like that. She goes, I just put up a couple fans, a couple chandeliers, changed the whole vibe. I'm like, literally that.
Correct.
Bam.
Correct. 1,000%.
And string lights.
1,000%.
They also help.
Hang them in the living room.
Wherever.
Might as well.
Wherever.
Might as well.
But yeah, so marketing is going back. Marketing very specific to the property,
Right.
But usually I can get it done around $1,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you do your content yourself? Do you edit the videos and do all
Yes.
that yourself?
Yep.
Okay. So
That's a big thing. I like to preach. You get on Instagram and you see all these very well produced videos, right? They got the high tech cameras, the high tech editors, microphone, captions, all that stuff. And they're great and they look great. And I inquired on these companies.
Right.
Maybe I should step my game up. I don't have fucking $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month?
You want a little hack? Instagram hack? Bangladesh.
Oh yeah.
That got mine in Bangladesh.
There you go.
It doesn't cost
There you go.
$2,000 a month. I just don't have enough time to edit all the videos I could on
Yeah.
Adobe, but apparently Adobe is not the thing to do it on
So
anymore.
everything I do is on my phone, and
Right.
it looks fine, right? I do cinematic view on my phone. It looks fine. When I want to cut to a different angle of my face, I just stop the video, move my camera, and keep talking. I have an app that adds all the captions. I have an app that does AI eyeballs for me. So if I need to read something off a piece of paper like this, it fixes my eyes on the camera where you have no idea I'm looking down.
That's
It's got, and this app is $60 a year.
oh wow.
It's super cheap.
What's the name of it? I want to invest.
I gave it away to too many people.
No, don't do it.
No, I
Yeah.
literally gave it, I posted one video. I don't know. Somebody was like, oh, I like your captions. Where do you do that? And I showed them. Now all their videos, I'm like, that's from the app. I almost said the app. And I'm like, damn, I'm giving away my secrets.
Don't tell.
I'm not
because
doing it.
This thing on TikTok goes viral sometimes. Like we have one video with 70,000. They hate me and they love Ben. So when I don't have a guest, like Fridays, we'll do like market recaps. We'll talk about stuff that drives housing prices up or
Yep.
down, inflation, all that. That's fun stuff that us mortgage people with ties get to talk about. And they hate me. They love Ben, but we'll go viral.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's about something I said.
Yeah.
Which I go viral, baby.
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, no. So don't say the name of it because that would go viral, and then all of TikTok would use it,
I'd be like,
and
damn.
we'd be seeing AI eyeballs everywhere.
I know.
And I
Exactly. You don't want that.
It scares me.
It's scary.
I found it.
Yeah. No. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
But yeah, so I do everything on my phone. And so what I tell people is that when I spoke at a last event, they asked me about my content because it was right after I posted that same video that I'm here now for. And they're like, oh, so who does your content? And I know for a fact there's people in that room that use these $2,000 a month people. I saw them and I said, hey, listen, I don't have that money, first off, to be wasting. You know, I have 2 very hungry dogs that eat a lot. Right? I don't have any kids. I have a lab and a pit.
They're big.
And they're crazy.
Yeah.
And I have a wife that likes to travel.
Right.
You know, so like I don't have time. If I told my wife I was spending $24,000 a year on social media, she would be like, okay, you better be getting like 100 deals off of this, right? It has to make sense. She called me out one time because I was on my phone on Instagram. And she was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm like working. And she was like, you say that. I want you to write down how many deals you did from Instagram last year. And like that year I did 30 deals, right? And she was like, how many of them came from Instagram directly? So we're going through she made me pull out my computer, like with my spreadsheet of the houses I sold and one by one. Because she knows every client because I talk about them at home, after work. And she was like,
all good stuff though.
Yeah, of course. So we're scrolling down. She goes, so 2 out of 30, which is 9% of your deals. So you should spend 9% of your day on Instagram, and you're spending 90. And I was like, Jesus. I was like, you could have just told me to put my phone up. You didn't have to like embarrass me like this.
Damn, she pulled the CEO out.
She did, dude. She was over it. But I got it. And then, but I was at this event. I was speaking about the social media, and I looked at all these people in the eye, and I said, there's people that pay $2,000 for social media content, and there's people who like me who does it myself, and every single time I have 10 times more views than they do.
Because it's real content.
And that's why I said it, because it's raw. I was like, you wouldn't see, like, if I posted a video tomorrow of me with that, I mean, great production is cool, but like, if I put on like a suit and tie and was talking about, and the thing is too, I know they all use the same people because they talk about the same thing. I think this company gives them script.
They do.
And then I'm like watching this video, I'm like, oh, that was a cool video about rates. Oh, this is word for word the same thing the other guy said. Oh, it's the same thing. So it's raw, it's different, and if you know me,
it's you.
It's me. And that's why one of my friends from high school, I pinned his comment on that video, and he was like, this is so funny because anybody who knows you knows that this is how you would show a house for real.
Right. 100%.
And I was like, yep.
Well, and that's the thing with us here. When we were looking to get into content, we talked to a bunch of different people, and we wanted to get it up and running. And how this all started was COVID. I was actually working for a mortgage company and the top producer there, but I was partnering with mortgage brokers and getting them to send deals to us. And it was actually New Res Wholesale who eventually bought Caliber. But I was like, man, I was watching a lot of Gary Vee at the time. And I was like,
he's really big on just doing it.
Dude, just do it. So I bought the mics. I bought one camera. And then, that was it. The mic's one camera on this Rodecaster Pro over here, and it wasn't live.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so how am I going to do this? I talked to a couple companies like, oh, we'll plan this out for you. I started thinking, I was like, that shit is boring.
Yeah.
Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like, I am off the cuff. Do you see any notes? Did you text me? What are we going to talk about? I was like,
he told me nothing. I like to like somewhat prepare. I'm like, so what are we going to talk about? He's like, real estate.
Okay.
No shit. Thanks.
Building wealth through real estate. I mean, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, I bet on the drive over here, you were thinking the whole time, like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I was like, man, whatever. But I'm the same way, so it's cool with me.
I like to have, you mentioned being real.
Yeah.
You watch a lot of these podcasts. So I look at our quote unquote competition. There's no one who's really doing this in mortgage or real estate. And I look at our competition and I'm like, okay, so they have a planned out show that has a rundown of everything they're going to talk about. And Ben and I tried that for a little bit. I never wanted that though, but we did it because Ben's not as quick on his feet. He's more analytical.
Sure.
And it didn't work. It was terrible. And we, I can't operate that way. Our best segments that we've ever had on this show are me ranting about something.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Fed printing more money, causing inflation, because my whole thing is, okay, Fed print more money, it causes inflation. Take the politics out of it. Okay, you're sending it to foreign wars, you're sending it to Israel, you're sending it here, you're sending it there, you're paying for this, we're paying for illegal immigrants coming. That's causing inflation. And what ends up happening is they raise interest rates. And when interest rates raise, businesses contract, and then working class Americans lose their jobs.
Sure.
So my whole thing is like, I'm for it. So it would be a rant about that. And it's apolitical because both sides do it.
Yeah, we're talking.
Right. We're just talking.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I started to realize, oh, the best content is me being real and giving my opinions. And I don't expect everyone to agree with me. Actually, I hope they don't, because then I can get another perspective. And then maybe I get smarter and I learn more. And maybe they present me with facts that I didn't know. And, and that's the whole point. And so when we were creating this, I'm like, I want to bring people who are interesting on here, and I want to have conversations. I actually thought it was really cool that you reached out to me. You're the first person. And I wanted to say, I wanted to respond, it's a surprise.
Hey, and I would have been like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, and then I was like, okay, well, he hasn't met, so the next time it's a surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that you can have, so the first person we ever brought on to the show, so we just started doing this. So it was just Ben and I talking for 2 years and talking about different topics and stuff, and we would answer questions live.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then as we started to expand, like, so Mike's our chief revenue officer. Mm-hmm. But he's running the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to spend $2,000 on production.
No.
I mean, the equipment over a 3-year period maybe costs about $2,000.
Yeah, but this is stuff that, this is not like a monthly expense you're paying. You buy it one time. But
right.
And
but
also,
we bought it over time, too.
Yeah,
we started like with one camera. And so my whole point, like what you're saying is, we don't spend an exorbitant amount of money on any of our production. We post on free platforms. We don't pay for advertising. We started gaining followers that way. We did get our guy Taneem over in Bangladesh to come on and do it, but they're also all of our loan officers are doing individual podcasts. We bring our realtor partners on. They can do their own podcast. Or what we're doing now is, like, if they aren't here, we'll set up one day a week where we do a Zoom, and one of them wants to talk to first-time home buyers, or if, like, say you wanted to do it, we would talk about investing stuff.
Yeah.
And so investors know, and then we have Taneem cut it up. So the value that we're getting from that is probably $5 a show.
Yeah.
$5 a show.
Well, when it comes to stuff like this, though, that don't get me wrong, I'm specifically talking about Instagram content.
Oh no, I'm 100% with you.
But when you're doing stuff like this, you have to buy the equipment. Because I think it's the most important thing to me is audio. That is the most important thing to me when you're making content. Lighting is second. Audio's first, lighting is second. If they can't hear you, doesn't fucking matter what you're saying. If they can't see you, they're disengaged.
But I will say this. If I could go back and do it again, I probably would have started with my AirPods and an iPhone.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of spending the money up front. But I was also, it was COVID. Like, it was shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, everybody was trying all type of different things.
Well, and we were making, for me personally, I was making so much money at the time when I first started this, because I started my own YouTube channel to talk about why you should send business to New Res Caliber, and big billion-dollar company, mind's blown. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
But we were like, think about it. Interest rates were 2%. We refinanced everybody
who had a house.
Like, do you know, for a year and a half, I didn't have to pick up my phone, but I would fund $15 million a month.
That's crazy.
Crazy. So I was like, you know what? So a couple of things. I watched a lot of Joe Rogan at the time. I had, now that I started my own business, I never watched Joe Rogan anymore. And then the other thing, I was watching a lot of Gary Vee, and Gary Vee spoke to mortgage brokers. He spoke to a group, and he's like, just get on your phones. So if I'm giving a suggestion, just like you're giving, you were talking to people, you don't spend the money on your Instagram.
Yeah.
One of the best Instagram follows I have.
Thanks.
And it's the most raw, and it's you. Number one, be yourself.
Yep.
Number two, like you said, the audio, but your AirPods and an iPhone are perfect.
Crystal
clear. You don't need this. The only reason we have this is because I started with this.
We want to look cool, really.
Yeah, really. It's actually not connected to anything. These headphones are connected to nothing.
So that's actually an iPod. That's an AirPod Pro, whatever.
It's all props.
So in my ear, I have an AirPod, and he does too. And
we're sharing one set.
And Mike is AI, so he's not even real.
He's not even a person over there.
Yeah. But to be completely honest, I would start with, like you said, and if I were you, I wouldn't go any more than that, because you don't need to.
You don't know too, right? Like, I have, and when it comes to content too, like, it'd be the stupidest stuff that goes viral, man.
It is.
It's the things that, like, there'll be some things I'm like really thought about, and I plan a filming day for it.
And it doesn't do nothing.
Flops, man. Flops hard. I get 200 views. I'm like, damn. It'd be the ones I wake, I'm like, this is funny. Let me just throw it up there. Because I just make content, like, just to make it, and hopefully one sticks. But what I've noticed now is that the algorithm catches it way later.
Right.
It's never the same day. Never. So that video that went crazy, I posted that 2 weeks ago before it went viral. And I woke up one day, and when you start to realize is when people that aren't following you are liking it a lot.
Right.
And that's when I woke up and I was like, you have 40 likes. But I didn't post anything the day before. I was like, okay. And I saw it was that video. And I was clicking on these people's profiles. And I'm like, okay, we have no mutual friends. They don't follow me. You don't follow me. And then over the span, I mean, it's still today. I'm still getting likes and follows from it. So you never know which one it's going to be.
You don't.
And,
I don't even remember which one of ours went.
Yeah.
70,000 plus views,
Yeah,
thousands of likes. It was something smart.
Like I
Not
thought,
stupid. It was something really smart.
I thought the video that went viral deserved to go viral because it was funny, but I also ripped it off another agent. But I tagged him in the caption because I wanted him to see it, and he still hasn't freaking commented on it.
You want to know what's great? When you don't tag them, and then when they say, you copy me, and you say, prove it.
Oh,
no,
that's so good.
I don't do that.
No,
I
that's
don't do
good.
that.
But I tagged him because I wanted him to see it because nobody else was doing it except this guy.
That's
great. And
great.
but the reason why I started because I had 5 people send me his video. It was like, you should do this.
Same city or different city?
He lives in Texas, I think.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
different state. Actually, isn't Texas its own country now?
Yeah, I think they're like separating.
Yeah,
from us.
yeah. I mean, great country, great barbecue. Love smoked meat.
But yeah, so I like going back to the equipment though. I have a $45 Amazon mic that I use.
Nice.
I use my phone. I use the app. I have a ring light that's from Amazon, and usually
Like
that's
one of
enough.
these?
Yeah, not even. Mine's like one of the smaller ones.
Oh.
like this
He's
big.
got the TikTok like.
Yeah. Oh, dude, those are so cool. I went to Italy with my wife.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go to the Trevi Fountain, obviously, because she needed her Lizzie McGuire moment. So we go super early on like a Monday because they clean it on Monday.
Right.
And they close it from 8 a.m. to 11. They turn off everything and scrubbing it. It looks ugly. So we get there at 6 a.m. and there's a decent amount of people there, but these girls had this light like on their phone case.
That's wild.
And it was perfect. And I said, damn, I kind of want to borrow that.
My kids have it.
Yeah, and then like I kind of wanted to like find them on Instagram to see how they turned out because I could just tell because it's 6 a.m. It's kind of like the sun hasn't came up yet.
It's duskish.
Yeah, so I was like, damn, that shit is so cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but I personally can't be seen walking around with that.
Right.
So
How would you fit it in your pocket?
first off,
Right.
yes.
I mean, it's
Get
not
him
like
a
you're
fanny pack.
Well, unless
I don't even have.
you don't carry a purse, do you?
I don't carry anything.
Right.
I don't even carry the car keys. As soon as I get out of the car, I give them to my wife. It's like anytime you buy anything from a store, what do? You give the receipt to your wife.
Or you don't lose them.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not going to get lost. It's going to get lost in my pocket or washed. First
right.
off,
It's definitely getting washed.
Yeah.
I've washed my AirPods like 17 times.
Yeah.
I
Wife
had
gets everything.
I had to buy a special case that attaches to my key ring because I lost 3 pairs of AirPods.
yeah, you're a menace.
Yeah. If my head wasn't attached, I'd lose that too.
Yeah. Yep.
So we have advice for content, which is you don't need to go super expensive. And I agree 1,000%. This is expensive, but we're almost 3 years into this. And we bought like a mic at a time. And Mike was just, Mike was just saying we need another one because we're having an episode coming up with 2 guests.
Yeah.
Their team. So we're like, I was looking, I was like, man, I don't want to buy a brand new mic again. So I was on Facebook Marketplace yesterday, and you can buy these nice ass mics. These are like, I don't know, $350, and you can get them for like $100.
Yeah.
And they have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it. And if it doesn't
Breaks
work, I'll
us.
just mail it back. But yeah, so
We
you
should
don't-
start doing that.
Yeah. Why y'all paying full price anyway? That's crazy.
because back in COVID, I was making so much money it didn't matter. But now, but long story short, doesn't need to be super expensive. If you're going in to sell real estate, this is the first piece we spoke about. Marketing's important.
Yep.
Staying true to your word, being yourself, being honest with people.
Yeah.
You don't gain long-term relationships by lying to people. I tell my loan officers that. So loan officers, I know you guys probably have this on out there on the TVs. You don't need to lie to people to win their business.
They will know.
Yes, be
They always
brutally
will know,
honest.
yeah.
Be brutally honest.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we preach here. So speaking of brutal honesty, we touched on this. NRA, you don't think it matters right now?
No. So I spoke on this as well, and but I spoke to it with real estate agents just because we were kind of doing a check-in.
Where'd
How's
you
everybody
speak at?
feeling? It was just one of my friends had like this event, and it was at a model home somewhere in
Nice,
Fort Mill.
nice.
And it was just agents. There wasn't consumers there. There wasn't lenders there. It was just agents, and it was kind of just like, how y'all feeling?
Lots of feelings.
What do
that
you
day.
think? Like what do you guys think you're gonna do? And it was like kind of more of a mastermind than anything. When it comes
Right,
to actually
right.
talking about it, nothing has happened, right?
yet.
Yet. So it's good to prepare, but not over prepare because if something doesn't change. But I also keep saying that North Carolina is in such a great position with this lawsuit because we're already doing all these things that other states aren't doing anyway.
Right.
So, for example, a lot of states don't have buyer agency agreements. We have to have a buyer agency agreement before we write an offer. On that buyer agency agreement, it says commission. How much are you paying me? And some people put 3%. Some people put whatever the seller's paying me, whatever that may be. It's listing agreement, same thing. It is what are you paying? What are you paying me or my firm to list your property? 6%, 5%. Subparagraph right under that. How much of that is going to the buyer agent? 3%, 2%. It's always been there, at least in North Carolina. So I think that we're in a good position because we've already had that stuff there. So it's not something I have to implement moving forward, really. I heard this one great show, and the guy said, we're going to the same exact destination. This road is just closed, so we just kind of have to go around it. But we're going to the same spot. 100%. So there are people freaking out, and it's because people don't know how to sell their value. And I think as a buyer agent now, if they're going to be paying you, you got to show them why. Right.
Which we should have been doing anyway.
Exactly, but they haven't.
Right.
Or like more than 80% of buyer or real estate agents don't have a buyer consultation like they do a listing presentation. Everybody has a listing presentation.
You do buyer consultations?
Yeah. So whether that's, if they have time to meet up beforehand, sure. If it's a Zoom call, sure. If it's the first house, I'll have the buyer consultation at the house. Right?
And SpongeBob.
How's that go?
SpongeBob. Which one? Or just buyer consultations?
So
for me, it's first off, I just need to know you, especially if I don't know you.
Right.
If you're a referral or Instagram person, I want to get to know you first, honestly. Right. So really, the first 15 minutes of that conversation, we're not talking about real estate. Where do you live now? Where'd you go to school? What do you do for work? Stuff like that. And then it's just very like, this is the process.
Okay.
I'm going to explain everything, how it works. I'm going to explain like what due diligence is. I'm going to explain earnest money. I'm going to explain my schedule first off. Cause like I used to say, whenever you need me, I'm there 24/7. Right. I didn't realize that people would take that for real and call me at midnight. So then I switch it. Hey, I'm pretty available after 7 o'clock. I try to hang out with my wife. I will text you back if I need to, like if it's super important, but if it's something I can wait, it's giving them expectations, pricing. Obviously they probably aren't pre-approved at this point.
Right.
So I asked them, what do you think purchase price or what I asked them is cause I kind of know if you tell me what you want your monthly payment to be, I kind of know your purchase price range or where that would fall.
Right.
Give or take your credit score, down payment, stuff like that. Right. But I kind of know like a decent range. Like if you tell me, yeah, like if you tell me like a $2,500 payment, I know you can buy something within this purchase price.
Right.
So then I kind of let them know expectations because these people have no idea. They'd be like, yeah, around 300,000. I'm like, cool. Kannapolis is where we're going, right?
We have a house that's about to be done.
So like
it's for rent though.
It's giving them expectations on where they're going to be, and I hate having conversations with people who are so unrealistic. Or like, I think Gaston County is growing like crazy.
It is.
And my investors have made a lot of money. Belmont, yeah, crazy. And so when I get these pre-approvals, I'm like, all right, cool. So we'll tap in Gastonia first, and I get Gastonia. And every time I did want to be like, ew, your budget. Oh, $250? You might as well rent.
Right.
Ew. Like, but I don't do that. So like,
just say there's a brewery there now.
Yeah. There is like, and people are like.
There's a restaurant.
Now, what people don't know, and I have to explain to them, is that Gaston County taxes are so expensive. They're double Mecklenburg County.
Why is that?
I think it's because they have to do a city and a county, and then it depends if you're in that historical part. There's some other historical tax. I showed a friend of mine, and we looked at the same exact house, one in Charlotte, one in Raleigh, or one in Charlotte, one in Gastonia, same builder, same floor plan, 2-year difference in year built. Charlotte taxes was $2,900. The one in Gastonia was $56.
Jeez
Good Lord.
So
was it in Belmont?
No, it was in Gastonia.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Belmont. I wish I would have bought in Belmont back when I bought my first house because it would be worth like $1 billion, probably.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's because the Jonas Brothers put that restaurant down.
God, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Nellie's, it's gross.
It used to be good when it first opened.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah. I don't want to see a cutout of Joe Jonas. I want my eggs to be right. Thanks. Appreciate you. Appreciate it.
Shout out Jonas Brothers. We love you.
Simple things.
Nick Jonas, sorry, buddy.
Get my shit scrambled, please.
Yeah,
Jeezy.
please.
Yeah, so buyer consultation up front. What makes you walk away from you mentioned that you're kind of choosy, and you can be at this point.
Yeah.
You're kind of choosy with who you work with.
Sure.
What will make you walk away?
So I'll start with listings because that's easier for me. Everybody has a number.
Correct.
I have the right number.
Right.
You have a number.
Because you're the professional.
It may be right, may be wrong. We may be close, we may be not. And I was talking to another real estate agent the other day because she took a listing that she kind of regrets taking.
Yeah.
And what I told her was, she goes, you know, what should I do? And I said, well, this is what I do when I go on listing presentations. I give them my presentation. I have my number. If our numbers are not close at all, and I can see that they're one of those people that's like, this is what it's worth, I just say, hey, listen, I think we're too far off. I think I'll put so much money and marketing into this, and it's going to sit on the market. And I'm not like that. I like to sell things in the first weekend if I possibly can. Not that I'm not going to underprice your house, but I want to make sure we're close. Or if we're close, I make them sign with the agreement. After 10 days, if we haven't gotten the showings that I want or the offers that I want or the interest that I want, you agree to lower it to the price that I told you from the beginning. Sign it or don't. If you don't, I'm not going to take the listing.
Right.
Because I don't want to waste my time.
So
Or theirs.
Or theirs, yeah.
Right,
But like,
yeah.
you know, some people you just can't, you
Gotta
know, you
be
can show them
real.
all the data you possibly can, and they're just like, but this is my child at home. I'm like, I don't care.
yeah, well,
Nobody else does.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time. Unfortunately, your feelings towards this home
Yeah.
do not matter in getting the home sold.
That was hard for me for this first house because that was my first house I bought in 2020, and everybody told me you should hire somebody and don't do it. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm trying to save 3%. I'm trying to do it myself. But I also knew like I put the same amount of marketing into other people's houses I did my own.
Right.
So I knew what I wanted. But yeah, it is super emotional because like when I got the offer, I'm like, hell yeah. All I saw was money. I was like, yeah. And then like inspections came. We're getting closer to the closing date. Start moving out.
This is a great house.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are they talking about? This inspector doesn't know shit.
Yeah, this is amazing. But then you start moving out,
Right.
And you
Oh,
realize,
sad.
oh man, I literally did the Fresh Prince standing in the living room. I did that, and it's cool.
Crying.
So the agent that was representing the buyer, we're actually going to lunch today. I'm taking him to lunch because he made this personal deal so great for me. And I'm like, I need to take you to lunch. Like it was
That's
great.
awesome.
But I would send him memes, SpongeBob memes, dude. I would send it, and he's so funny. But it is emotional, and I get that. And now that I've actually been through that, I feel like I can relate more. Because before, I'm like, what are you so attached for? Now I know how that feels. But so I'll walk away from that. Buyers, unrealistic buyers, right? I used to drive. I mean, I'll go to Durham. I'll sell a house in Durham, but only to like friends and family.
Right.
If you call me on Instagram and say I want to buy a house in Raleigh, I'm sure you're very serious. But like just logistically,
It doesn't.
I'd rather just refer you out and make 35% and do nothing. But if it's like my best friend bought a house in Clayton, and I told him this was going to be his second house, his forever home where he had kids in, and I told him like I want to be a part of that.
Right.
So I'll drive, and I stayed in hotels in Raleigh to do that. So it's like that I'll do it, but other people, I go about to High Point probably because my in-laws live in High Point, so I'm there often.
Okay.
So distance, purchase price, I'll work with you if it's $100,000, but like you have to know what $100,000 gets you.
Yeah, and I don't think people have an expectation of what that is. When we send out $110,000 approval now, I have a realistic conversation with the buyer, and I'm like, hey, listen, you need to talk to your agent because this is what you're approved for, and we have the best rates in the industry. So 110 is like 80 at movement.
Sure.
So it's like, here's what you're approved for. Here's why. Here's the things you can do to get it up.
Yep.
And here's a plan. And if you do this over the next 6 months, that might be 210. But this, you need to talk to them about 110 is. And if you want 110, we'll do the.
I'll get
mortgage
you
all
110,
day.
but most people don't want 110.
Right, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for mortgages because we have. So 110, you think maybe they're putting 3.5% down. A lot of times it's down payment assistance.
Sure.
We have points and fees tests that we have to pass per state. Well, think about this: if our commission is paid as part of that transaction,
Yep.
well, it can no longer go lender paid, meaning that's going to be part of your closing cost because the points and fees test will go over the 3% that's allowable.
Yeah. So
right?
I talked about that too. I think North Carolina is so good. Like I'm licensed in South Carolina, and we're in South Carolina now.
Right.
I'm mostly doing North Carolina, so that's why I refer to North Carolina.
Yeah, we're both.
Yeah. So
we have more, I think, in North Carolina than South Carolina. It's a pretty even mix for us.
yeah. So when I think of that specific scenario
Right.
with it'll go over the limits on what somebody can take, I truly believe that if all this goes through, North Carolina, which
NAR,
they're gonna change.
They have to.
They're gonna change the documents on the offer to purchase, and on page like 11 or something, it's like who the house goes out to, who's gonna be on the deed, is there any settlement costs that the seller's paying for, and I think there's gonna be another paragraph added specifically buyer agent compensation to
Right.
this firm for this amount, and I think that on the Alta, closing disclosure, I think it's going to be its own separate category. I truly don't believe that it's going to be part of the closing costs.
They're going to, if they did that, they would have to change mortgage as well, because there's no way. So, and we were talking about this earlier before we got on the podcast, but one of the things that we can do to help is we would be able to, in certain scenarios where the seller, which I don't think this would be a smart move by the seller, but they won't pay the commission.
Yeah.
You can, finance it in, because it'll be a normal cost. So per mortgage, we'll be able to finance it in. But and that's fine for like 300,000 plus. That's not going to be an issue. You're looking at who's it going to affect. It's going to affect the person who's below 300,000.
Yeah.
So a lot of your first time home buyers, or people who don't have the income, or maybe they had credit issues. The people that right now politicians are working to get into home ownership, it's going to affect them most. So they would literally, state by state, is going to have to change that. Well, it's not even state. That's federal. That's HUD, right? But North Carolina also has a North Carolina state fees test, right? Where, and it's just an algorithm runs it, and if this percentage is here, it won't. We have to figure it out, and we figure it out, but they will have to change it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of changes. But I don't think they're going to be like career ending. I think it's just like you just have to adapt to them.
I went through this. So I was telling you, I think I told you this as well. Or actually, it was somebody I was speaking with yesterday. He's coming on the podcast next week. He does a lot of commercial real estate. So I was telling him back in, I don't even remember the year, but when I started my career in mortgage, I was in the closing department at Quicken Loans, which is now Rocket Mortgage, but not their retail side, the side that worked with brokers. So I've been pretty much my whole career working in the broker channel. They went from the HUD to the CD. It was very similar to what realtors are going through. So a lot of mortgage professionals who've been doing this 10 plus years can kind of, if they're good, they can kind of guide you through how it's going to go, how to get ahead of it. But like you said, don't be over prepared, because it might change.
Yeah.
And we were literally preparing until the day it came out, and that's why I made my switch into underwriting. And then after underwriting, I was like, I can't stare at screens anymore. I need to get into sales. So we went through it, and it happened, and the disclosures were different. The closing disclosure is different. I actually think it's more complicated than a HUD, because on commercial they still do HUDs. They aren't doing closing disclosures. So I like the HUD better because it breaks things out more. But the federal government said, "Oh no, it's too confusing."
Yeah.
Well,
we need to add some bold letters.
Right, bold letters.
And put lines on it so you can.
And then we have to make the buckets, bucket A, bucket B, bucket C.
And then add A, B, C, J, and this is where you got this number.
Look in section J.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flip to page 3.
So NAR, one of the things I think it's going to do is push out the part-time agent.
Yes, 100%. Because you have to, I think to be a good real estate agent, you have to have the perfect balance of that dog negotiator and communication skills.
Right.
To finesse a conversation. One of my value adds to the buyers when I'm talking to my buyer consultant, I have 100% under contract to close.
Nice.
In my career. If I was on the buyer side and we went under contract, you closed on the house.
Right.
Right?
That's
every
awesome.
time. Whether I got the repairs done, whether I got the credits you wanted, that is my value add. Right. And I think that's a good one. But the thing is because I'm not one of those agents that's like, do this or we're walking away.
You make it happen.
I just like, hey man, listen, I hear where your clients come from. Here's my client's issue. This is their worry. There's something that we can do, right? They want this house sold. My buyer wants this house. You want to get paid. I want to get paid. Let's do this, right? So I think that the part-time agents don't have those skills. They're too busy with their real job to have enough practice doing it.
You have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And you need the at-bats.
Yes.
If you're just, and I actually think it's a disservice to the part-time agent. Not all of them. Part-time agents, don't take this personal. It's almost a disservice because a lot of them are doing it for friends and family. Well, it's almost a disservice to your friends or family.
It is.
Right? Because you get somebody like yourself who's a real estate professional. You get the at-bats. You have the negotiation skills. What you just described is you know how to make a deal work for both sides, which is like the number one thing in any negotiation.
Yeah.
Right? So you know how to make a deal work for both sides. And the part-time agent, and I literally just dealt with this with somebody. I'm not going to say who because the agent would know who I was talking about. But they're like, why don't you just do X, Y, and Z? because this happened. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that doesn't make any, it was a low appraisal. That doesn't make any sense for the buyer.
Yeah.
Like, so you're going to give up this. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation, and then she or he kind of explained herself, or himself, and
Man, you're really selling it.
and then I understood, but at the same time, what you know how to do is, hey, here's a concern, here's their concern. Let's come to the table and have a conversation about this.
Yep.
Period. 100%. That's what works. The part-time agent, and the other piece too is, it takes a little bit to get comfortable in uncomfortable conversations.
Yes.
And that's what you do.
Especially as a younger agent. I got in when I was 23.
Young.
And I know agents who got in when they're 18, which is cool. But like specifically men, our brains are like developed at 23.
No, it takes till 25.
Yeah, we're like, crazy. But like when you're going in and maybe you haven't sold a lot of houses, you really can't be like, I have a lot of knowledge on this. You actually don't. You're kind of bullshitting,
right?
Honestly.
Yeah.
So the first like a year, you're kind of bullshitting like your expertise. You may know everything. You may have read every book.
Watch Selling Sunset.
God, got a Lamborghini and everything. But I always tell people, real estate school teaches you how to not to go to prison.
Right.
When you get in the real estate world, you better find a mentor because you're not going to even know how to write an offer.
Did you have a mentor?
Yeah. So that team I was on, like I said, they had. I had to do 5 open houses before they turned my leads on. I had to do 5 inspection summaries before they turned my leads on. I had to pre-write 4 offers by myself, and they basically graded it like a test. Oh, you put this in the wrong spot. So like
that's super good onboarding.
Yeah, so like
you don't see that with a lot.
No, so that's the thing with teams. People are like, yeah, but they take so much. This is so funny. So I was like, I'm gonna be a solo agent. I'm not going to a team. They're gonna take all your money, right? So for like 3 months, I'm really trying to crack it on my own. It doesn't work out, right? It's always so hard to start. And the guy that I went to real estate school with, we were at an event. I'm like, where did you go? I don't see you anymore. He goes, oh, I joined so-and-so team. I was like, damn, dude, you're getting finessed. I said, they're taking so much of your money. And he was like, oh, how much money has Keller Williams take from your checks? And I was like, oh, well, I haven't done a deal yet. And he was like, oh, that's crazy. I've done 5. So... And I was like, well, how much do they take from your checks? And he said, he was like, I made more than $0 like you did. And I said, damn, you're right. So then I took the bullet in my first paycheck. I'll never forget it. So I joined coaching before I joined the team, but the coaching contract was for the first 5 deals you did or something. So I had the Keller Williams split, had the coaching split, then I had my team split, and it was a Zillow lead. Dog.
What was the first check?
I'm hype as hell. I'm like, babe, I'll close on my first house today. Hype as hell.
$200.
$800.
We're going to Sizzler tonight.
God, I had to empty out my cart at Men's Warehouse. I was going to get all these suits. Damn, I can't even afford the shoes.
Thrift shop.
So, yeah. So, it's, mentorship is huge. But being a new agent, like I will, anytime I talk about it, I will credit my wife 1 billion times over. She paid for everything when I got my real estate, when I got my license. Yeah. So, I was doing both. I was bartending and doing real estate.
Right.
Typical.
Yeah.
Typical,
drinking and selling.
Yeah. But the thing is, I work nights, right? I work the weekends. People need to see houses after work, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I figured it out, like, this part-time shit does not work. And it doesn't. I mean, it will for, like, 1% of the agents. But really, if you want to do this long-term, you can't do it part-time. So it was Christmas Eve, actually. And I always work the holidays, obviously. And I just was like, something was happening at work where I wasn't making the money I thought I was supposed to make for Christmas Eve. And I was like, dude, fuck this. I could be at home right now, like with my wife, or at the time she was my girlfriend. Yeah, at home with my girlfriend instead of doing this shit. Right. I quit. I didn't think about it. Boom, quit. Gone. Christmas Eve. Walked out. Got home like 2 hours earlier than I was supposed to. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you here right now? And I was like, all right, I'm going to real estate full time. And she's like, okay, whatever. I was like, I need you to pay all the bills. For 90 days.
How long have y'all been together at that point?
2.5.
Okay, so a while.
Yeah.
She's balled in.
Yeah. But she worked at a dentist office as an admin. She made like maybe 40 a year, right?
Right.
And then I probably made like 70 as a bartender. So I took the majority of the income out, and I said, give me 90 days to do this full send. If I don't do it, I'll go get a job somewhere else.
Right.
I'll give up. So she paid every bill. She paid my phone. She paid my car. She paid for the groceries. When we went to dinner, she paid. You know, I still had money saved, so like I would pay for some things, but 90% of the bill she paid for. Then I got a deal, not after the $800 deal. And then I got another deal. And then I was doing like 2 deals a month. And on a team, you know, you'll maybe make like $3,000.
Right.
But for me, that was enough.
Right.
So then we started doing it. I went solo. So I came back to her again because I wasn't getting those feed-it leads.
Right.
And I said, hey, babe, I think I'm going to quit the team. But this time, the conversation was different. She goes, thank God.
That's awesome.
I've been waiting for you to do this. She's like, you don't need them.
Right.
She was like, I've been waiting for you to do this. I'm like, all right, cool. First year solo, I made like $70K.
Cool.
Great.
How old were you?
It was in 2022.
2022.
So I was 20. I was about to turn 26, maybe.
Cool.
27. I don't know. But the next full year as a solo agent, I made $200,000.
Badass.
And then after that, she was like, all right, cool, you got it. And then I repaid all that stuff. And now when she wants to go on trips, I will make sure I take her on trips or whatever it may do, because people don't understand, like, if I didn't have a girlfriend that was open to doing that for me, I would be working at something else probably.
I think that as I was growing up, you know, you would see like a big time business executive retiring thank his wife. You would see you know, coaches thank their wives, their significant others, so on and so forth. And I truly understand it now. I mean, we started this. And
God, I got to thank mine.
Yeah.
Mike's thanking his. And they support you so much. And it's conversation. It's so funny because I texted my wife, thanks for all the support.
Yeah.
Because we're still in year 3, and we're growing a business that's going to be 50 states, so it's not easy.
No. I'm not going to be home a lot.
Not going to be at home a lot. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
She takes care of the entire house, the kids, everything.
Yeah, that's next level. Having kids, I couldn't imagine the responsibility that I gave her for just then.
Oh, man.
Add kids to the mix.
And then also she does all her compliance here to make sure we stay within compliance.
There you go.
So she left her job and she works here with no salary to take care of compliance. That's how support. So I understand 100% what you're saying. And I think I think that over the past few years, really since I was with her, she supported everything that I wanted to do. I wanted to start a trucking company. Stupid idea, by the way. Don't do that.
But she was probably like, go ahead.
Go ahead, dude. I walked out of a job. I was making $150,000 a year as an underwriter, and I was one of the top producers on the team. Got there at like 9:03. I had a downish month the month before, but I had killed it. Things were starting to contract a little bit. This was in 2018. People don't realize we went through a mini recession in 2018 and rates went up and such. My new boss of underwriting pulls me in a room and wants to talk about production. He got 3 sentences and he's like, hey, Nick, I need to talk to you. I was like, let's just save our time. I quit. I'm done. I'm going to give you my 2-week notice right now. I can't do this. We had started another business, Ben, myself, and my wife, called Charlotte Brewery Tours. We ended up selling it to Charlotte Nightlife in 2019. Perfect timing because the pandemic hit and shut everything down at that point.
No breweries to tour.
No, no breweries to tour. So we had this bus that we remodeled. It was really cool. And she was in it with me then. And we had only been dating not even a year at that point. And she's like, yeah. And so we started doing that. So I said, I'm going to quit and run this full time. Funny story. My brother was going into Quicken for an interview the same day with the guy I just quit with. He didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Probably scared it ran in the family.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, I had left there after 8 years and I went out on my own, and then the brewery tour company was doing really well. And I talked to a diesel mechanic, and the diesel mechanic said, you should get into over the road transportation. Don't do it. It can be very successful, but you better learn how to drive because you'll be picking trucks up in New Jersey, Indiana, because a lot of times these drivers, they'll take trucks and just leave them.
Yeah.
They'll take a load, go up there, leave them. One of the guys actually came to the office I had at the time after leaving my truck, and I had to get it rescued and pay another driver and ask for his paycheck. This was my fucking favorite. He didn't get his paycheck.
Yeah.
I was like, you actually owe me $300 because you were going to get paid $600. It cost me $900 to get up there and to get the truck. And by the way, you left it in the parking lot where it got booted. I won't charge you the $2,200 to take the boot off. Just give me $200. And we'll be even. But yeah, long story short, spouses, significant others have your back. Like, dude, you saying that, it hits a note with me. I know it hits a note with Mike. He talks about it all the time, especially as we're starting this up. Like, this is a guy who went from making like $400,000 a year to, you know, He makes something, but it's not $400,000. It's not $400,000 a year. And my wife and his wife and him went to dinner last Friday. And I looked at her and I said, "Thank you for letting him do this." Because at the end of the day, we can't do it without him, and we can't do it without our spouses. Nope. So to have somebody in your corner, especially you guys were young, and she's like, "I got you." She believed in you.
She didn't even like. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. But I think she knew though. She knew like if he goes in this full time, he'll really do.
You have the personality to do it. I can tell sitting with you. I was thinking as you were talking and telling that story, I was like, this dude's going to be retired by 38.
My mom always says that.
I mean,
and I was like, I hope so.
So certain people say similar things to me. They're like, you're young to own a business. You're wise beyond your years. Like there's certain things, and I see a lot of those aspects in you. To me, just the straightforwardness, respectfully straightforward with people, and the brutal honesty. It's very rare to find people with that. If I could get a whole team of people like that, but the problem is you get a team like that and they don't stay a team. They're entrepreneurs at heart.
That's the thing, and that's what I learned too. It's like there's people that are meant to be team members, and the people who leave the teams are the people who end up being the team leaders eventually, right? 100%. And that's why I love the team I was on. I was on 2 teams, and I love both of them.
Right.
But at some point, I was like, I'm wasting my time.
Right.
Like I could be out here doing some other stuff.
Right.
And every time I feel like an itch to do something, I just do it because it's something like telling me like you should probably change your circumstance or change maybe your environment, whether it's like, maybe switching a firm or maybe it's, working with somebody else. And then sometimes when it doesn't work out, it's like, oh, you weren't supposed to partner with this person. You weren't supposed to go here.
Right.
So I think that, but I tell people now, I used to be one of those guys like, I think I'll get my license. Can you talk to me? And I would go out and eat with them and tell them everything. Yeah, it's kind of hard, Right. Now I'm like, how much do you have saved? 50 grand? No? Okay. Do you have a support system? Your mom pay your bills?
Wife.
Your wife, girlfriend? Oh, no, you're a single dude? Yeah, don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Don't do it. And I had this guy who was in finance in Uptown. He joined the team that we were on, maybe sold 1 house or so. Ended up quitting 4 months later. I said, why'd you quit? He goes, every single one of my credit cards are maxed out, and my savings that I thought was enough is gone.
You got to be willing to sacrifice.
He said, I have no money. I physically have to go get another job. And he never returned to the business. But after that happened, I was like, I think people need to have conversations about, like, unless you have a book of business straight out the gate, which most people don't.
No.
You are going to be hurting.
I think it's almost any business or anything where you strike out commission-based and you're pretty much 100% commission based. There was a guy, Jeff Bailey, when I was starting a trucking company. He's like, you have an awesome concept. It's different than what other trucking companies are doing, and you could make it. And he came aboard, and he was eccentric, but I like him a lot. He actually called me a couple weeks ago, and we spoke for the first time in like a year and a half. We weren't like not speaking. We were just kind of busy. Yeah. And I will never forget him telling me, he's like, you're undercapitalized. I've done this, young man. I'm 64 years old, and this dude, like, he's an old school truck driver. He would drink a Red Bull and drive for 3 days. If they still allowed meth in trucks, he wouldn't have done it, but maybe he would have. But he would turn off the. But anyways, long story short, he said you're undercapitalized because he was helping me kind of understand that, and I don't think that there's enough understanding about the things that you don't know that are going to come up. The 10%, you can have the greatest plan in the world and try to plan for 100%. There's 10% of things that are going to come up that are going to cause you to lose money. They're going to tell you, it's just the financial piece it's the most underutilized. It's something that Ben speaks on all the time. Financial literacy first off, but financial literacy when it comes to starting a business, it's like going from 2 + 2 to calculus.
Yes.
And the same thing on the commission side. And you had a support system, but the other piece that they don't understand, especially when and you tell me if I'm wrong on this, because from my perspective, if you're going from, say, a finance background into a commission-based role as a realtor, there's something called, there's books about it. Donald Trump wrote The Art of a Deal, or sales books. One of the ones I like is Jeb Blount. Like, there's something about deal making that these books, there's a bunch of them, Fanatical Prospecting, The Way of the Wolf. There's so many, the Challenger Method.
Yeah. If
you don't have a sales background, it's going to take you a little bit. Even in a real estate spot to understand that. And then you have to get comfortable in the position because they're asking questions that are sometimes uncomfortable or you may not know the answer, and you have to know how to navigate that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a savings, you said 90 days. 90 days?
That was quick.
That's quick.
But that's because I knew that I was like, if she gives me this go ahead,
I'm going.
I'm going to sell a fucking house in 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
It's the last thing I do.
Did you sell one or more?
No, I sold more. I sold 3, I think.
That's awesome.
One a month. Yeah.
3 homes in 90 days.
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, but then like, you know, I'm really good with money though.
Right.
When it comes to like saving for like tax. I knew the whole tax thing. A lot of real estate agents don't understand that.
Oh, man.
You're going to owe a shit ton of taxes.
And then they get hit over the head with it.
Yeah. So like I knew, and this was before I even had like a corporation or paid myself a certain way. It was just me taking 1099, paying taxes. I didn't really know anything about write-offs. I didn't have a business card, nothing like that. So it was like, oh, I made 80,000. I owe
right
25,000, whatever. But I was really good with paying myself monthly an amount. So I was paying myself like $2,000 a month. So, and that helped because one month, it was crazy. It was December. And everybody's like, everything's slow in the holiday, right? That's what people say. Slowest time is in December. So make sure you have money saved to get you through the winter months. It was in 2022. That year I did almost 200. I think I made 74,000 in the month of December. It was 6 deals in 2 weeks in December. The first 2 weeks of December.
You know what I like to do? When they tell me it's a slow month, I accelerate.
Yeah, it's always been like that for me.
Yeah.
All the winter months are crazy for me. So
it's slow?
Yeah.
Watch this.
So we went to DC for Christmas just to go to DC, and all the deals were closed up, and then I didn't have a deal until May close. For something after that, like it just died. I don't know what it was.
What'd you do prospecting wise?
So the same thing I always do. I reach out to my investors, reach out to all my software, like lead-based stuff, and then social media. I just keep in front of people, really.
Right.
And then people will come. But
so you didn't change anything from a prospect?
No, I didn't change anything. But the thing was that I wasn't freaking out because I had $80,000 in the bank account.
Right.
That if I didn't sell a single house, I could live on this for a year and a half.
Right. So
that kept me at ease. Right. So now I try to make sure I have an amount of money in my account if I don't sell a house for 6 months. And that means I'm doing nothing.
Right.
If you don't sell a house in 6 months, you're doing nothing.
Right.
So I was like, if I have that money, I'm cool. I'm collected. I'm not freaking out, once that money starts to dwindle. Or like, it's always like when I'm like super slow. And I'm like, God, dude, what's going on?
It's a slump.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I got your information from so-and-so. Like the other day, one of my investors I sold back in 2020, of course I had his number and everything saved still. We didn't talk. I sent out my newsletters or whatever. He would read them, He calls me, his name pops up. And I was like, what's up, man? I said his name. And he was like, oh, shit. I was like, are you okay? And he was like, oh, I didn't think you would know who this was.
I store everyone's number.
And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I was like, I still email you, dude. He goes, yeah, I know. I thought that was just like some like generated newsletter. I'm like, no, they're like individually sent. Like, I mean, I send them to you. I know that. He's like, oh, cool. And I had no deals going on. This is like 2 months. I haven't really done anything.
Right.
And he's like, I'm ready to buy my another investment property. And I said, sweet. So I started like getting myself ready for that process of looking, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, there's a community that opened up in Gastonia. I already know what house I want and what floor plan. I just need to figure out what lot I want. And I said, okay, cool. Let me get the plot map. Get the plot map sent over to him. Hey, have your investment company or your property manager run the numbers. This is what I think it'll rent for, but I always have the property manager that is going to be listing the property tell them what they would list it for, and hopefully our numbers are close. The same. Yeah. So he's like, all right, give me a couple days. It was a Friday. Calls me on Monday. All right, Nick, ready to go. Lot 120. Yeah, go ahead and get it started. I said, oh, sweet. It's gonna be an easy deal. I said, all right, do you want to connect with the builder's lender? Do you have a lender? Do you want to connect with my lender? He's like, it's cash. I said, okay.
Super easy. 14 days done.
It was. So the house was done. It was a new construction. It was finished. We closed it in 11 days and
boom,
$7,000. But it was like, it's stuff like that. Like it'll be so slow, and then I get like random things like that happen, which is good. And then
that's a good referral.
Put towards it's good. They always come in clutch when it's slow. My investors, they do. But I always tell people all the time, and all of my friends are in corporate America. My wife's in corporate America, and some of them are consultants. Some of them are directors, right? And they make a shit ton of money.
Right.
They're making $250,000 easy every year, not including their bonuses.
Right.
And I always tell them, like, man, I'd rather make $50,000 doing what I do than to do what you do. Like, one of my friends, he told me, he was like, I can get you a job at my company easy as selling portfolios to banks. Like, he was a financial director. And I was like, what would you pay me for that? He was like, I don't know, I'd probably start you at like 150. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, and this is like when the market was kind of shitty, like when their interest rate came up. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, do I have to go to Uptown, like to the office? He was like, yeah, you got to go to the office 5 days a week. I'm like, do I have to wear a suit every day? And he was like, yes. And I was like, no, I can't do it.
Pass.
I can't do it.
Hard pass.
And he's always like, now he makes fun of me all the time. He was like we'll go get cigars. He was like, so I'm like, nah, I'm good. But it's like an inside joke to us now.
Yeah. There's something about being out on your own.
Yes.
And making your own rules.
It is. Especially when you're like me. My wife calls me, quote unquote, an HR nightmare. That's what she calls me. She always calls me.
You are.
I am.
I am too. That's why we don't have HR.
Yeah. Yeah. The real reason we're entrepreneurs is because we get fired from anything we're not in charge of.
We liked corporate America. They did not like us.
They don't
I'm
like
the
to be,
HR.
They don't like to be called fucking idiots on a Monday morning.
Exactly.
And then they're such idiots. They don't realize they're being idiots.
Yeah. So like I love being able to go on vacation if I want to. I love being able to, if I want to put my head down and grind for 7 days straight and show houses for 12 hours and then take 3 days off, cool. Like my birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I didn't do anything yesterday.
Aries.
I went out on Sunday.
Me too. Mine's in 9 days.
There you go. I went out on Sunday with some friends and we drank, like day drank. And then I felt like, I'm old now, so I felt like shit.
Oh yeah. Wait till you hit 30, buddy.
Yeah, so I was sitting there and
Once you hit 40.
and I'm like rolling over. I said, I should probably write some emails or check in on some stuff. And I'm like, nah. And so we were downstairs, like eating lunch. I said, and she was taking me to dinner. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see you when we're about to go to dinner. See you? Where you going? I was like, I could sleep. Tired. She was like, what? I slept from like 12 to like 4 o'clock in the middle of the day. And I woke up, I was like, man, I love that I could do this. This is awesome.
Can't do that in corporate America.
Nah, you can't do that anywhere.
No. Yeah, I just, the money's nice.
It can be nice, but it can be really bad.
It also can like handcuff you.
Yeah.
Golden handcuffs is what I have a buddy who's in corporate America killing it. I'm like, dude, you do well over here. It'd take you 3 to 6 months to get going. And he's in mortgage already. He's like, golden handcuffs, man. I'm making $250,000 a year. I have a wife, a kid, a beautiful house that I live in. And he's like, I hate my job, but I do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I do it with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
But Mike said this to me once when we were talking about it. He was like, he makes less money here than he did before, but you don't roll out of bed and say, oh, I got to go to work today.
Well, no, I see what's on the horizon here. You know what I mean? It's, you get what you put in.
Yep.
Right.
It's all that our generation is really bad with instant gratification.
Oh, yeah. That's why they make credit cards.
God, dude. Like, everything about being in real estate is not instant gratification.
No.
It's not. So, like, these people, they'll watch these shows. They'll freaking do all this stuff.
What's the one about the Hamptons? It's on Netflix. Do you watch it? Do you watch those shows?
I watch all of them.
Because
I laugh. Yeah, I laugh. No, because I pull their stats up. I love it. You watch Love is Blind?
With my wife, yeah.
Okay, so
I think everyone's watching it.
Okay, yeah. So there was it was in Charlotte this past time, right?
They all are.
Yeah, and one of the girls was a self-proclaimed real estate agent. That was her job title. You know, when they pull their name up, real estate agent. And I was like, interesting. So I put it on my Instagram. I was like, should I pull up the stats, y'all? Yeah. Should I pull up the stats to see if she's actually a real estate agent? I did.
Was she?
Yeah, she was a real estate agent.
How many deals?
Never sold a house.
How long has she been an agent for?
I didn't even look. Less than me, because by the license number, it's chronological. So she's been an agent for not that long.
I hate that.
But it was at least a year, but no deals. And I'm like, I hate when people go on the show and it's like, I'm a real estate. And if you look at any reality TV show, there's one person who's a real estate agent, a developer, or an investor, whatever the hell that means. But yeah, there's no instant gratification in real estate. So I tell people all the time, like, dude, you're going to be broke probably for like a hot minute.
Especially, you have a natural instinct to get people to be attracted to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's truth telling. I keep going back to that. You're honest with people.
Yeah.
And it seems like you might be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which
I don't really get
right.
It's really hard to make me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Except Optimus Hall makes me very uncomfortable.
Why?
parking, finding a seat to eat. It makes me really clammy.
Yeah. I'm not.
I hate it.
I've met a few agents there, and I'm like, oh, man, I got to drive to Optimus Hall. God. It's cool. They got a lot of like selection and stuff.
It does. But finding a seat is a nightmare for me. Man. Anxious like crazy.
Yeah. I always end up parking like behind where you have to walk up that huge staircase to get in. And then like I wear a suit. So here's a story behind the suits. First and foremost, it's somebody's biggest financial transaction of their life, bigger than financial advisors a lot of times that they're putting money with. So I'm like, I'm going to show them the respect to wear a suit.
Sure.
Secondly, Peaky Blinders. I love that show.
I couldn't get into it so slow. Well, I heard after like the 24th episode, it gets good.
Yeah, I haven't made it that far. I just like the outfits. So I like the outfits, but there's a little bit of old school to it. But to me, it was more about the respect for them.
Yeah.
Right now, as an agent, if I'm out in the middle of Charlotte, walking to Optimus Hall wearing this, and I'm sweating my ass off in the middle of July.
Greasy.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I go down to Charleston a lot. I literally had to go downstairs to JP. He's about our age. He owns the men's store downstairs. It's pretty cool. You should stop in on the way out. McFadden's. And I was like, I need summer suits.
Please.
Do you have anything that's
breathable,
lighter? Like, because I walk through Charleston.
Yeah.
And
the humidity down there is next level.
It's the devil's armpit, dude. It's like, it's so
I went to
bad.
a wedding down there, and I was like, is this like a shirtless option wedding? Because I'm drenched already. I know it's a beach wedding, but can I like just be in my swim trunks?
Oh yeah, dude. It was. We went to one in October. My wife and I, and it was brutally hot. End of September, early October. Love Charleston. Great food, great city next to the beach. Super old, which is cool. But yeah, dude, like Optimus Hall, I pull up and it's probably a July. And this is before we got like Modex or MMI, so I couldn't check like the agent I was going to. Like, how much business do they actually do? Pretty sure. And to all the agents who've met me there, I've met a few. I'm not talking about you. Pretty sure they did no deals.
Yeah.
Right. And this time we were only residential, so pretty sure there was no residential deals. So I'm walking up, and Joe is actually with me, and we're going to meet this person. I'm just pouring sweat. We get up the stairs. We're sitting there. I'm like, man, he's taking forever. We're going to eat lunch.
Yeah.
He didn't show up.
Oh, bro.
So I sweated like crazy going to Optimus Hall. And then someone backed into my car while I was there. God. No dent or anything, but just.
It's a bad day.
I was just like, man, alive. I'm never coming out to this all again.
God, jeez. I always tell. I had an agent, or I had a lender that I worked with a lot, and then, we would hang out with other lenders, right? And they're like, oh, you and so do so many deals together. How did you meet them? Like, what caused the relationship? And I was like, oh, I needed a specific investment loan, and she was the first person to say I have this program, and I didn't know her at all, and I just gave her an investor and said, well, if it works out, then I'll know, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Boom, and then the guy, we did end up doing like a ton of deals together, and a guy that worked with her who was newer was like, I know I can't get your business, obviously.
Right.
Because I'm not going to steal your, but like, what should I do as a new person to find an agent like this where we have this type of relationship? And I tell him every time, you have to find a new agent who doesn't do shit. He was like, I don't think you heard me. Trying to find agents who do deals. And I said every agent who does deals already has a lender.
Right.
So you got to find somebody that you think is a hard worker, that you can see it happening, and do everything you can with them, market together, do events together. Because I told him, like, dude, if somebody is a successful real estate agent, they already have 2 lenders that they use, and you're never going to get them away from those 2. And I tell people, I made a video. I think you probably didn't follow me yet because it was before my viral video.
Was it the Date the Rate video?
No, this was on my story. This was a story thing. And it was, I'm not going to get fucking coffee with you. I'm not getting coffee with you. And I said, I was like, lenders, you have to understand, I already have lenders. What you can do to show me what you can do for my business is send me a pre-approved client who doesn't have a realtor yet and is looking for one, and just giving me a bone. And then that shows me. 2, I love Steak 48. So if you want to
get better steakhouses.
So if you want to take me to get a ribeye at Steak 48 and talk business, I'm definitely down. But I'm not going to get coffee with you.
Let me ask you a question. If they take you to get a steak, do you refer them a client?
Yes.
Because that's an expensive ass steak. You like Steak 48?
No, so I really, it used to be just the straight up anniversary dinner. I only went there once a year for anniversary. We went there the past time. our third year, and we didn't really care for it too much. But I will tell you, I'm on chapter 6 right now. We went there last night. That was my favorite restaurant right now. It's so good.
Really? So my wife and I have this thing where we would do the NCAA basketball tournaments, the brackets against each other, and whoever won got to pick a steakhouse to go to. So we went recently, parents' night, to Steak 48, and dude, I think Epic Chop House is better.
Yeah.
I like.
I heard Beef and Bottle is one of those classics.
You have to go to Beef and Bottle, get the Oyster Rockefellers to start. So we hit all the steakhouses, and we were so excited for Steak 48. It was the most expensive out of all of them, and it's not a bad steak.
No.
But for what you're paying for it, compared to like if you go to Epic Chop House, get it Pittsburgh style, dude, like you're eating something different.
Yeah.
Beef and Bottle. Beef and Bottle's more nostalgia.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But I would put that on the same level as Steak 48. Mike, have you been to Steak 48? It's newer.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when I was working in Charlotte, I went everywhere. That's what the producer reps would come in and take us out.
Take you out.
Name a couple of the steakhouses I'm missing.
Oh, God.
Capitol Grill.
Yeah, Capitol Grill's not that good.
Capitol Grill's
I like Rio's better.
Interesting. Well, NJ, what I was trying to say is I'm not getting coffee. But like,
that's fine. But I can talk steak all day. Yeah. I love steak. So let's talk about fuck coffee. Let's talk about steak. We do Celsiuses around here.
There you go.
So let me touch on what you're saying, because I'm a lender who went out and I talked to a lot of experienced people.
Yep.
And this is, I don't even know if I want to give this advice because I got a lot of lending enemies.
Yeah.
But this is what I do, right? So if I went in your business, I would offer you a value that you can't get elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right. The other piece is I would be in your face, like not annoyingly so.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, oh, I got this. I got this.
Yep.
I got this. And here at MBI, we have more than other people because being a broker, we're partnered with 6,000 lenders.
Yeah.
So like the way you deal with us, we're dealing with the lenders trying to get us.
Yeah.
Or I would show you how I can save money. But what I would do is I would offer you a value.
Yeah.
The other thing that people don't do that's kind of old school is drop-ins anymore. Right? Like just drop in, introduce yourself, hello, and build that relationship.
Yep.
And if I really want your business, I just ask you to come on the podcast.
There you go. Oh, that's why I'm here.
No. You're here because of the video. Yeah. But I agree with you that, especially if somebody who's successful, right? Now, if they do 1 to 12 deals a year, which is pretty good, not great, but good. It's not like 48 deals, right? So like if you go into, I don't know, I walked into Carriage Properties, which is in Charleston, and introduced myself to the broker in charge who started the company. Dude, you're talking about sold $1 billion of real estate.
Jesus.
Like that's hard to get.
Yeah.
So you better provide a value, right?
It's untouchable.
And asking them to get coffee, they're probably busy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That's really it.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, and then somebody yourself, a lot of your leads are self-generated, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably prospecting, doing things of that nature. So, hey, come get coffee and waste 45 minutes to an hour with me.
Yeah.
When you could be doing revenue-generating things.
Yeah. Or I like doing events, right? That's the
events
lender.
Cool.
The lender that I work with a lot now. We like one of them. I have two. One of them sponsored one of my client appreciation parties.
That's cool.
And they came out.
I did that.
And that was a great value add. Like, and we didn't do a lot of deals together either. So I felt bad. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, like, I appreciate it, but like, we haven't really done a lot of deals. I feel bad for taking this much money from you to help me pay for this stuff when I really haven't reciprocated that much business to you. And he was like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's a long-term thing. So like, I like that. That was nice.
You want to hear a cool one that I did? With my, she sends me a majority of her business, as long as it's not cash. We rented a movie theater for a client.
I heard
appreciation
doing that, and it was dope.
It was sick, dude.
Yeah.
I got to bring my son too. Maybe he was a little bit too young for the movie. It was PG-13, and he was 3 at the time. But it was a superhero movie, so it wasn't.
Yeah, that's terrible.
He did have nightmares that night, but he was fine. So we rented a movie theater out, and I split the cost, and then broker open houses. I'll do a lot of those.
Yeah.
So I'll split the cost. I'm at the point right now, kind of like you mentioned, that you can kind of be a little bit choosy about who you work with. I'm pretty choosy about who I work with. Now, if we have somebody who comes to me I'm going to work with them.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard about you, I'm essentially referral based only. And a lot of people haven't even heard about NBI Financial Group. We're like a good lawyer, right? You're not going to see a good lawyer on a park bench. You're just not.
Billboards all over 77.
Right. So we are that white glove service. But I agree with you 100%. Co-sponsor events. Really, if you want to be like a great loan officer, you need to come work at NBI Financial Group, and we'll teach you our ways.
Plug.
No, but there's things that they can do, and it is tough. How many phone calls from lenders do you get a day?
So now it's Instagram stuff, right? I get people messaging me on Instagram all the time. Oh, I like the way you do business.
I feel special. You're here.
Do you want to get coffee?
Yeah, no. Yeah, or like
where's the value add, right?
For me, and this sounds crazy because this is what I do. I always have 3 lenders that I'll send out on an email when I need to get somebody pre-approved.
Because you can't steer.
And I put their name,
right,
and I put their company, and I put my experience with them and what kind of things they offer, right? And as I do that, I slowly start to see who gets chosen more than the other.
Right.
And then if I meet somebody new, I may take out that third person and plug them in there one time. And if like, damn, he got the business the first email intro. Okay. Because I tell these lenders, I'm like, oh, they went with so-and-so. Well, why? I guess you just didn't sell yourself good enough. That's what, or like maybe it's the rate, but really it's like, you gotta
I don't get shopped. Rate isn't it?
Yeah. So I
it's
feel
a
like
value add. I keep saying that word value add. Where's your value?
You have to sell just like I have to sell these people like why they should use me as a real estate agent. You have to sell yourself. And I feel like lenders also have to do that too. And when it's just like, you know, if it's just like, hey, this is what I'll do for you, blah, blah, blah. And then if somebody goes, well, what's your rate? You still should be able to like, you know, because I know people who pick other lenders that have worse rates, but because everything else about the deal is great or the things they offer are great, they're like, this is better. Like one of the lenders I work with, he told me, he was like, he has like, it's always the people who are really well off, who don't need that extra 0.25% off, but they value time and efficiency. They'll pay the extra $2,000.
What if I told you 90% of our clients don't shop us? I'm going to show you the secret sauce after because I think what you're saying, I'm not doing it.
It's not going on here.
No.
Sorry about it.
And would you put it on here, Mike?
No.
No.
Mike would jump over that table. He's like, I'm the chief revenue officer. You start strangling me. I'd be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The value add, and I keep mentioning that, and I don't want to get too much into what I do so like if I really
tell me offline.
Yeah, if I really wanted to win your business, I would tell you what my strategy behind it would be.
I would just hit the stop streaming button.
Damn.
Right. You wouldn't even know. Y'all think y'all would be in deep.
Well, and that's the thing about it though. There has to be a value add, and when it comes to the clients, there has to be a value add, and there's a lot of stuff. What's going to end up happening as we grow here, because we're growing the team out there, we actually have a chief growth officer as well, who's now an equity partner as well. Shout out, Eric. I hope you're watching. Actually, no, I don't. I hope you're prospecting to bring in more loan officers. I'm just kidding, buddy. I love you. But we are going to end up creating the new leaders of the lending because what we've put in here, and I'll kind of go through it with you, and the things that we do for agents, no one else is doing.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned a bunch of lenders reached out and loved your content.
Yeah.
A week later, where are you?
Yeah.
We're adding value.
Yeah.
You now have clips. You don't have to pay anything. You came on here. You get to discuss your strategy. We get to talk and love the attitude. Meet. Like, get to know each other. Like, for everybody who doesn't know, we're getting to know each other for the first time.
Yeah. I met him at 9:30 this morning.
This is our first date.
Publicly.
Do you think it's going great?
Yeah,
do you want to go on a second one?
Yeah, only if it's for steak. No, just kidding.
only for steak. Yeah, but it's definitely not Steak 48. That place is terrible.
You're in the friend zone.
At Big Chop House, it is.
No, actually, we should go to the Cellar at Duckworth's.
I heard that place is great.
Places, if you are a bourbon drinker and you like red meat, buddy, let me tell you, that was like, if I got to choose the place, that's where we went.
You know what's funny is that before I got in real estate, when I was like working a normal regular job, and made regular money, we were in Uptown, and I like Duckworth's, right? Because I used to go in Ballantyne a lot because my job was over there, and I was like, man, I'm really feeling like some Duckworth's. I had no idea Duckworth's Cellar was a different thing.
Absolutely.
So we're with some friends. We go down there. Oh, let's grab a Philly cheesesteak or something. Right? So we go down this fucking speakeasy thing. I'm like, yo, this one is cool.
That's it.
This is dope. We sit down and open up that menu, and it's not Duckworth's prices.
No, sir.
They gave me this bourbon list, like you said.
And
And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Where's the food? Open it up, and it's not the Duckworth menu. It's a different restaurant.
No.
And it's the only restaurant that I like.
Why did they name it that?
I don't know. It's like a part of it. So like Duckworth's at the top.
Yeah,
you
there's
go
a
to the
bar
regular
above.
one.
Oh, same owners.
And then you go down to the Speakeasy.
Yeah. So I thought it was just they were full up top. So I was like, I'll just go to the bottom, and it was empty. And I
can't believe they let you in.
Dude, it was crazy, and I felt so bad. And the waiter came back and I said, listen, man. Before you even get started on your whole spiel, I gotta go. I didn't know this was it. We came here for a quick bite.
Right.
This is like where I would take my wife.
Yeah.
Right. But I never went back. But I always heard that it's
Dude, it's the only restaurant I've ever been to where you could buy Blood Oath bourbon, which comes in a box at the bar. So you guys can look up Blood Oath when you leave here, and
I'll see how much it goes.
It's quite expensive, but it was amazing.
Yeah. Does it have blood in it?
Oh, Jesus.
I hope so. That's the only reason I want
Delicious.
it. But yeah, you're right. Going back to everything, value add is super value for everything you do.
Right.
And it's always like those random things too. Like, I know you now. I got to know you. I think we're the same person, like pretty much personality. That's big for me too, personality wise. I know people who are great lenders, but like, I don't like them. Like, I would never go out and get a drink with them, right?
Right. I would go out and get a drink with you.
Yeah. So like my wife always says like, you need to separate business and like friendships, and I'm like, I don't like to though. I like to like, if I have like a friend who has kids and stuff. Yeah. Like, I would love to like give them a couple deals so they can take their kid to
Disneyland
or something.
Right. That'd be sweet.
Or like something like that. So like, sweet. I like to be friends with my people.
I think relationships are built. I told my team, I was trying to explain this, like, if you're going, say I'm cold calling realtors. Hey, I'm Nick. I'm here, and like I said, I'm mostly Charleston right now. Charleston, I'm here. Blah blah blah. Do you want to meet up? I met a guy named Marco, and he's an agent, but he's an agent because he does his own deals, like big investor. Yeah. So I'm actually going down there Monday. I'm driving down to meet him, and I will do that. I'll spend a week at a time in Charleston, and split my time, but. What I tell them is a lot of times you get the deal, but build the relationship too. Like, it's very hard to, if somebody was to call you, hey, let's grab coffee. How awkward. Yeah. Now you're sitting at this coffee and like, what are we talking about? Oh, you do lending? I know. Yeah. Like, I would call you, and I'm not going to tell you how I do it.
We have good rates. Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, awesome. So does everybody.
Do you guys do FHA loans? Oh, cool.
Sometimes. FHA is the new subprime. Oh, man. Lenders get that joke. FHA is the new subprime because subprime crashed the market in 2008. God. Well, FHA is essentially what that was, except it has mortgage insurance now. And it's a little bit more regulated. You like actually have to verify income, whereas before, you didn't really have to do that.
Whatever you say.
Dude, there was a story, true story. Did you ever see the movie The Big Short?
Yeah. I just watched it last year.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think I watched it because of I'm like in it now, right? And I felt like it would be cool to watch.
Pretty much spot on what happened. I mean, there was like somebody put his dog as a co-borrower, and like some random McDonald's employee, and got a home.
Crazy.
Like, how did that happen? No kidding, the market crashed. Yeah. Like, let's not do that again. FHA is not really that. That's a lender joke, nerdy, but value add. Value add. NRA is not going to change much for North Carolina. Yep. You got into the industry at 24 years old. You've been very successful. You're out on your own now. Yep. Anything else you want people to know about you?
No, I'm just one of the guys, man. I just like to, I always like the term that a client will become a friend faster than a friend will become a client, and I love that saying.
I love that
because it is true. I feel like I'm going to brunch. There's a girl I just sold a house to, and now we're in a group chat somehow with my wife and her boyfriend, and we're getting brunch on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Not really sure how all that happened. But it's things like that. Yeah. And it's I truly like to keep and I'll follow you on Instagram, when you have a baby, I like to send things. That's cool. Like, realtors will send like Happy Christmas, which I do too, but I really like to be involved because I always ask my clients, I'm like, hey, when you start decorating, like send me pictures. I want to see like how you make this at home. Do that with my I like to like stay like tapped in with them. But yeah, if you're thinking about buying a house and you don't have an agent and you want to work with me, just know that like I'm gonna talk to you after the house is done.
That's cool.
Like I want to be your friend.
That's awesome.
I do want to be your friend. And there's a lot of agents to choose from in Charlotte, and I would say you interview these people because you never know.
Right.
You know, and
I would agree.
Yeah, and nothing is super exclusive. You have a buyer agency agreement, you can terminate at any time.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't know that. They see these you have to be your agent for a year. No, dude. That's why I tell my buyers all the time, hey, can you sign this buyer agency agreement? It does say you're locked in for 6 months. You can call me tomorrow and tell me that you hate me, and I'll terminate it tomorrow. This is just to cover me on some certain aspects about showing houses. But other than that, if you find out that you don't like me, you know.
Yep. Agreed.
But I think that, I'm just what you saw here. If you go to my Instagram, that's what you're going to get through and through.
And it's good, fun sarcasm. A lot of it's truthful. I mean,
now I can be real with you and be, I can shoot numbers. And if you don't like the funny stuff, then I won't give it to you. But
then you're losing out.
Yeah,
it's a bonus.
Well, here's the deal too, and just I want to touch on this too is. Everything I watched, like the sarcasm in the video, it comes through and it's funny. But the reason it's funny is because it has a connection, especially nowadays with the 7.5% interest rates. It has a connection to the truth.
Yeah.
The date the rate video that you did. Oh my God, dude! Like
I had to say it, dude, because I hated it.
Because it's bullshit.
Such a terrible financial advice. But the thing was, that's the thing with social media. There's a trend. And everybody does it, but there's nobody that does the other side that why this is not right. Now, is that advice okay for some situations? Maybe, but most of the time it's not. Like,
where's the strategy behind it? So it was a cute saying that everybody latched onto. I feel like people made T-shirts about it, everything. It was wild. And Ben and I, it was just the two of us in the company before we had grown.
It was a used car salesman tactic to sell houses.
I used to start conversations with realtors. I'd be like, what do you think about that phrase, date the rate?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. I got to work with someone different.
Yeah.
Like the conversation we just had, and if people are just tuning into this, we'll post the podcast in a few weeks, but go back on the live and watch the conversation when Nick breaks down investment property, cash flow, what his clients are trying to do. That's somebody who's intelligent, who knows what they're talking about, that you probably want to work with.
Yeah.
I don't know if you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, but
that's my other 40. So it's 60% investor, 40% first-time home buyer.
And here's the thing: first-time home buyers. This is the guy because, and there's other people too, but interview them, and what he said is spot on. But the education behind it and the understanding of what you have in real estate, I'd be disappointed if you took the job from your friend, because that means a good person's leaving the industry.
Yeah.
Because just having this, hour and a half conversation or however long it's been, you can tell that you know what you're doing. And I think that especially real estate agents, lenders, you'd be surprised at how many people come to me who couldn't get approved there because of X, Y, and Z, and the lender just doesn't know the guideline.
Yeah.
How do you not know the guideline? But it works both. Job. Right. It works on both sides. We need more of that in this industry, and we need more truth telling, and we need more people who aren't just watching Selling Sunset and thinking it's all, glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
You mentioned something else too, where you can look up, they're a realtor. Let me look up how much they actually do. Well, we can do that with lenders too. Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious because I see some of these great Instagram videos from other lenders, and then I'll go on MMI or Modex and I'll look up their production, and it's like, bro, you've done
talkers.
You've done 40,000 since last September. 40,000. You've done a HELOC. Congratulations.
Social media is fake.
It is. It's
social
so
media
fake.
is fake, man. Like, I mean, obviously, like if you see my content, you're like, okay, it's gonna work. But like, even
yours
like
is more
there's
entertainment value to get attention, though. It's not lying about what you're doing.
No, like I don't have those catchy attention grabbers in the beginning. Like when the settlement came out, there was like these videos, and it was like buyer agents are leaving the industry forever, and then they would go in the video and be like, oh well, actually. It's just getting changed. It's like, dude, you just lied to them the first 3 seconds, and now you're backtracking what you said because now you have their attention. That's gonna piss me off.
You want to know what that means? You just lost credibility by doing that.
Yeah, for views.
For views. So you lost your credibility as an agent to get more views on Instagram, which is not paying you.
Yeah.
And if it does eventually pay you, it's not going to pay you like it pays Kim Kardashian.
I didn't even opt into it. They try to keep making me like turn on my monetization, and I won't do it.
No,
because I heard it like I heard it messes up your engagement, like how your videos get sent or something. So I'm like, really? I'd rather not make $60 and get my videos out there. But like when that whole NAR thing, and I was scrolling and seeing all this wrong information, I would just comment, "This is wrong. Stop trying to get views off this information."
Right.
Probably got like 400 followers off of just saying that. People would follow me.
Right.
Oh, well, what is this guy talking about then?
Right.
Not that.
Not that, because the other thing too is I don't watch like a lot of TV, but I heard mortgage people. There's a podcast I watch with a mortgage person who brings on like top producing real estate agents and such. And
is that not what this is right now?
We're just two guys.
Oh, okay.
No, this is very scripted. We're just two friends hanging. Are you a real estate agent? Are we a lender? Do we do lending? No, but so the news, I guess, was saying, oh, this is gonna cause home prices to go down. This is gonna do this, and every narrative was just a false narrative. And I'm like, I can't even watch this shit anymore. Like this is wild. And you'll see out there that they have like the business, CNN Money and Fox Business on, and then the other two are sports. And it's just like the stuff that they put on those mainstream stations about the NAR settlement. First off, it doesn't go through until July.
Yeah.
Second off, there's going to be some stuff that changes. Now there's more lawsuits filed in New York, and there's more stuff going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if they blow up the settlement agreement.
Or push it back at least a couple more months.
And I will say this, I do think NRA kind of, NAR, I should say, NRA probably is getting sued too, but NAR is. I did that earlier. They're like, "Are we talking about guns?" I was like, "Oh,
sorry, so sorry."
Why'd they use the same letters? Stupid. So yeah, I do believe though that they kind of hung some agent. They hung the agents out to dry.
Yeah, they did.
There should have been some more language in that, and I talked to our attorney, and I was like, well, "What do you think about this?" And he was like, "Bad lawyers." Yeah. I mean, what the hell?
It's funny because all the sellers who were wronged are getting $11 a piece.
That's good. They can.
Yeah.
Can you buy a Big Mac for $11 anymore?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Inflation, right?
Yeah. So the lawyers that did that settlement are getting like $180 million, but the homeowners who were wronged are getting $11 a piece.
I'm still not understanding. Yeah. Oh, the other video you did that I loved. Buyers agents are free.
Oh yeah,
that video.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for everybody who hasn't, go check him out. Nick Sells CLT. That's how I found him. My wife saw his video, sent it to me, and I immediately messaged you guys.
Yeah.
Like, come on the podcast because, again, it's fun to have interesting people on the podcast. We appreciate having you here.
Appreciate you.
I love being able to pick your brain, especially you started young. Like I said, 10 years. I just see it. In 10 years, you'll be retired. And I'm going to have to get you back on at some point because there's more I want to talk to you about, especially investing, personal stuff, things like that, as far as investing in real estate. My phone hasn't stopped, so I probably have to jump. Sorry, clients.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I know you have a lunch coming up, too, so got to hit it. But appreciate having you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Weird.
So
knuckle, hand, all of it.
We'll do it all. I got into that with my new barber. Like, we got into this thing. He's downstairs in the men's store. He cut my hair. I was like, damn, that was like...
That was the worst.
That was the whitest shit I've ever done.
It's more like...
Yeah, 100%. But...
I thought that my phone was playing something.
No, that's Mike programmed the board so he can play sounds. But listen, everybody, we appreciate you watching.
You
if you haven't done it, bang the red subscribe button, turn on notifications. MBI Financial Group LLC on everything. I'm Mortgage Man Nick, MTG Man Nick on Instagram and all my other social media. And this is Nick Sells CLT. Go follow us. Thank you. We're out. Peace. That was fun.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Glad. I'll show you some stuff.
I was looking at my phone and